very good morning to one and all. On behalf of Progressive Education Society's Modern College of Engineering, I, Professor Dr. Suhasini Itkar, would like to welcome you all to the 2 days national level workshop on adoption of guidelines on NHEQF and curriculum framework and credit system for 4-year undergraduate program under Quality Improvement Program of Savitribai Phule Pune University. I take this opportunity to welcome all the dignitaries, all the participants of this national level quality improvement program to the inaugural function. We will start the inauguration with the Saraswati Vandana. For this, I invite Ms. Priyanka Bhatt Madam. Thank you.
जय शारदे वागीश्वरी जय शारदे वागीश्वरी विधिकन्यके विद्याधरी वागीश्वरी वागीश्वरी जय शारदे वागीश्वरी जय शारदे वागीश्वरी ज्योत्स्ने परी कांती तुझी ज्योत्स्ने परी कांती तुझी मुखम शारद चंद्रमा ज्योत्स्ने परी कांती तुझी मुखम शारद चंद्रमा उजळे तुझ्या हास्यातून उजळे तुझ्या हास्यातून चारी युगांची पौर्णिमा तुझ्या कृपेचे चांदणे तुझ्या कृपेचे चांदणे नित वर्षू दे अमुच्या शिरी नित वर्षू दे अमुच्या शिरी वागीश्वरी जय शारदे वागीश्वरी वीणेवरी हिरता तुझी वीणेवरी हिरता तुझी चतुरा कलामयंगुली चतुरा कलामयंगुली संगीत जन्माये नवे संगीत नवे जडता कल्पतरुवरी बहरून आल्या मंजिरी बहरून आल्या मंजिरी वागीश्वरी जय शारदे वागीश्वरी विधिकन्यके विद्याधरी वागीश्वरी वागीश्वरी जय शारदे वागीश्वरी वागीश्वरी वागीश्वरी.
Thank you, Bhatt Madam, for the Saraswati Vandana. Achieving excellence is a continuous process, and we are proud to be a part of it. This would have become possible with a dynamic approach and dedication of respected principal, Professor Dr. Kalyani Joshi Madam. Now I will invite Madam to give welcome address and introduction of workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Itkar. Namaskar, good morning, one and all. On behalf of Progressive Education Society's Modern College of Engineering, I, Dr. Kalyani Joshi, extend warm welcome to respected members, dignitaries of dais, and all members those not present here. Our mentor, guide, president of this function, Honorable Professor Dr. G.R. Ekbote sir, Chairman Progressive Education Society, Pune. Chief guest of today's function, Professor Dr. Nitin Karmadkar, ex-Vice Chancellor, Savitribai Phule, Pune University. Guest of honor, Professor M.S. Sutavane, Vice Chancellor, COEP, Technological University, Pune. Our CDC Chairperson, Joint Secretary of Progressive Education Society, Professor Josna Ekbote Madam. She will join within some minutes. Professor S.S. Deshmukh, Secretary, Progressive Education Society. As well, Professor Rudra Rameshwar, all heads of departments, all staff members and participants. Once again, I extend my warm welcome on behalf of Progressive Education Society's Modern College of Engineering. First of all, I thank Savitribai Phule Pune University, Pune, for sanctioning and sponsoring this 2 days national level workshop on adoption of guidelines on NHEQF and curriculum framework and credit system for 4-year undergraduate program under the QIP to our institute. Quickly to start with introduction of this QIP, education is a primary right of every individual. It is the base of achieving full human potential and promoting society for national development. Quality education is the key to India's continued ascent and leadership on the global stage in terms of economic growth, social justice and equality, scientific advancement, national integration, and cultural preservation. Universal high-quality education is the best way forward for developing and maximizing our country's rich talents and resources for the good of the individual, the society, the country, and the world. India will have the highest population of young people in the world over the next decade, and our ability to provide high-quality educational opportunities to them will determine the future of our country. Considering this, the government has come up with the National Education Policy 2020. Education policy lays particular emphasis on the development of the creative potential of everyone. The teacher must be at the center of the fundamental reforms in the education system. The new education policy must help re-establish teachers at all levels as the most respected and essential members of our society, because They truly shape our next generation of citizens. So first, it is essential to train the teachers by providing insights of NEP 2020 through various sessions, seminars, and workshops. I appreciate the initiative of SPPU for giving such opportunities to colleges and affiliated institutes to organize such sessions. The NEP 2020 notes that higher education significantly contributes towards sustainable livelihoods and economic development of the nation. And as India moves towards becoming a knowledge economy and society, more and more young Indians are likely to aspire for higher education. NEP 2020 conceptualizes the formulation of expected learning outcomes for all higher education programs. It states that national higher education qualification framework will be formulated and it shall be in sync with the national skills qualifications framework, that is NSQF, to ease the integration of vocational education into higher education. Additionally, it points out the higher education qualifications leading to a degree or diploma or certificate shall be described by the NHEQF in terms of such learning outcomes. The NEP 2020 also mandates relevant agencies to identify specific skills that students must acquire during their academic programs with the aim of preparing well-rounded learners with 21st century skills. So with all these attributes, it is very essential to get acquainted and familiar with all the norms of NEP 2020 and NHEQF being higher and technical institution. The objectives of this QIP are to understand guidelines for adoption of NHEQF in engineering education and to inculcate practices of quality assurance for accreditation. I am sure that this workshop will satisfy all the participants to get the knowledge about NEP 2020 and NHEQF and its implementation. Once again, thank all for being part of this wonderful ceremony. Best wishes to participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Dr. Kalyani Joshi, Madam, for giving insight about our institute and these 2 days quality improvement program. Learning is a treasure which accompanies its learner everywhere. So these 2 days workshop will give the learner all the NEP insights. Professor Shamkant Deshmukh Sir, Secretary, Progressive Education Society and visitor of PS Modern College of Engineering. He is a driving force for all of us. He always motivates us to adopt new technologies and develop new skills. So he is also the Vice Principal of Modern College of Arts, Science, Commerce College. He is also the Head of Department of Computer Science Department. And in all the activities, he supports us in all the aspects. So I invite Professor Shamkant Deshmukh Sir to give insight about our parent trust, Progressive Education Society, and guide us about National Education Policy 2020. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Honorable Professor Dr. Nitin Karmalkar, former Vice Chancellor, Savitri University, and Chairman Steering Committee constituted by State Government of Maharashtra in order to implement NEP in the Maharashtra state. Professor Dr. M.S. Sutane, Vice Chancellor, COEP Technological University. Professor Dr. Kalyani Joshi, Principal, Modern College of Engineering. And all HODs, Vice Principals, dear participants. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you all in this national conference organized in view of NEP 2020 to be implemented from the academic year 2023-2024. As it is rightly said, change is the only constant. As all you know that as far as we Indians are concerned, our mentality in order to accept the changes, in order to adopt the changes, is we are very rigid about this. Unless and until things are not made compulsory, we don't accept easily. There can be several examples related to it. As all you know that when Aadhaar card concept it was introduced, unless and until it was not made mandatory, it was not made compulsory, we have not accepted it. On one fine day, central government and state government they announced that you will not be entitled to avail several benefits unless and until you don't have Aadhaar card. As of a sudden, we have realized and we have started applying for Aadhaar card and so on. Same way, as all you know that in order to book gas cylinder earlier we used to make phone call. Nowadays, it is mandatory that by using your registered mobile number, you have to give missed call in order to book gas cylinder. Earlier, it was criticized how it is possible for any layman to give missed call in order to book gas cylinder. But nowadays, we are observing that it is very easy and everyone is going to book gas cylinder. Same situation it has happened with the FASTag. When FASTag it was introduced, when it has made compulsory, as of a sudden people have started applying for FASTag. Try to understand, NEP it was earlier in 1990 years in in 2020 new national education policy it is described, it is in the form of documentation, and it is big challenge in front of us to implement it from 2023-2024. We have to change our mindset, we have to accept this, we have to welcome this. Okay? And that's why in order to share what is exactly NEP 2020, how it is to be adopted, how it is to be implemented, there are several questions in your mind about NEP. And as 4-year degree programs, they are going to come, multidisciplinary approach, it is to be adopted, how this is going to be done, how credits are to be transferred, how TIEs, MOUs are to be signed with other organizations, and how our students are going to complete prerequisite credits related to particular course. All these things, they are there in our mind. When we are talking about 4-year degree program, ultimately at the first year, when any student is going to complete first year, certificate will be awarded, multiple entry, multiple exit. They are encouraged, they are promoted. Obviously, there is a framework of 7 years. Within 7 years, students are supposed to complete their degree. But at the same time, after completion of first year, certificate is given, it will be awarded to a student. And if at all, student would like to continue with the next part, that is diploma in the second year, he or she can continue. Or in between, there is a provision that if student would like to accept job on the basis of certificate, he or she can accept. Similarly, after completion of second year, diploma will be awarded. After completion of third year, degree will be awarded. And after completion of 4 year, degree with honors or research, it will be awarded. And in days to come, postgraduate program, it will be either for 1 year or 2 years. So this variation will be there as far as higher education is concerned. As you know that central government is keenly thinking on this, that there is a huge unemployment. In order to make student industry ready, lot of challenges they are there in front of us. As majority of you are from engineering background, so out of 100 students, only 30 students are well placed as far as engineering graduates are concerned. This is the present situation related to India. So there is a huge unemployment, and in order to address this particular parameter, national education policy, which is adopted, which is rather these guidelines are given, and we have to adopt these in order to make our student industry ready. From the day one, they should be in a position to work in the organization. There should be good rapport between industry, academia, and what is required to the society. Based on that, quality education is to be imparted to the students. This is the motto behind NEP and to reduce the unemployment, which is the major worry related to present Indian central government and so on. And that's why this is introduced. As all you know that gross enrollment ratio related to India as on date, it is 27%. So when 100 students are entered in the education process, only 27 students, they used to continue their higher education. This is the present, you can say, statistics related to gross enrollment ratio. And as far as this gross enrollment ratio is concerned, we are planning that it should reach to 50% in days to come, because we are comparing with the developed country and ours is a developing country. So this gross enrollment ratio, it should reach to 50%. This is the target. And as far as you can say GDP percentage is concerned, central government is spending around 3% of GDP on education, out of which 1.7% on higher education and 1.3% on school education. So dream is that we have to spend around 6% on higher education. This is the dream, and this dream we are we are focusing since so many years, but we are not in a position to spend huge amount on higher education, and that's why NEP is going to play vital role. So what all you can say concrete boundaries they are there related to any organization, we have to scratch them. There should be openness related to education system. So multidisciplinary approach, it will get encouraged. If you are going to see our mission statement, which was written way back, but now you will realize how it is in view of national education policy to create multidisciplinary best citizens to suit local, national, and international needs, having scientific temperament, moral, and ethical values by giving excellent education. So this was this mission statement of our progressive education society. It was jotted down way back, but it go hand in hand with National Education Policy 2020. Once again, on behalf of Progressive Education Society and Modern College of Engineering, I welcome you all in this 2-day national conference, and we are grateful to Professor Dr. Nitin Karmakar sir and Professor Dr. M.S. Sutane sir for accepting our invitation and to deliver presidential speech as well as keynote address of this national conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for exploring and guiding us on all the aspects of NEP 2020. President of today's inauguration function, Honorable Chairman Dr. Egbote sir, is joining us in some time due to his commitments as being the medical professional. So felicitations we will have when sir will join. Now I will request Professor Dr. Rupali Kamthe Madam to introduce today's chief guest, Professor Dr. Nitin Karmakar sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mrs. Itkar Madam. Respected all dignitaries, senior academicians registered for this workshop from various institutes from all over India, and my dear colleagues present in this auditorium, very good morning to all. I, Dr. Mrs. Rupali Kamthe, Vice Principal and IQSC Coordinator of Modern College of Engineering, Pune, take this opportunity to introduce our today's chief guest, Dr. Nitin Karmakar sir. Dr. Karmakar sir is an ex-Vice Chancellor of Savitribai Phule Pune University. Sir, a former head of Department of Environmental Science and Department of Geology, is a well-known scientist in the field of igneous petrology. With more than 25 years of teaching and more than 30 research publications in various national and international journals, he is actively involved in academics and research, along with constantly guiding various facets of academia, being a part of member of Board of Studies and Research and Recognition Committees for Geology and Environmental Science. Sir has strongly shouldered various administrative duties including coordinator of IQAC cell at SPPU, member of Central Purchase Committee, member of Senate, member of Alumni Association, Placement and Corporate Relations Cell, Savitribai Phule, Pune University. Sir has worked with various research collaborators from Australia, France, and Germany. Under his guidance, more than 20 students have completed their MSc dissertations and 4 students have completed their PhD. He is actively involved in mentoring students for Earth Science Olympiad. He is council member, Geological Society of India, Bangalore, and fellow Maharashtra Academy of Sciences, India. In 2005, Sir has received Professor C. Nagarna Gold Medal of the Mineralogical Society of India, Mysore, towards his contributions in the field of alkaline magmatism of the Kutch region, Gujarat. This background provides him with blend of strong academics and research experience along with administrative expertise. Sir has also acted as the Vice Chancellor of Solapur University, Solapur, during year 2017-18. National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAC, Bengaluru, has nominated Sir as an assessor of NAC. Sir has been appointed as the chairman of Birbal Sahani Institute of Paleo Sciences, Lucknow, by the central government's Department of Science and Technology. In addition to this, Honorable Chairman UGC has nominated Sir as a member of the Governing Board and Governing Council of Consortium of Educational Communication, that is CEC, under the category of Vice Chancellor of the University having Media Center. CEC is an inter-university center established by the University Grants Commission. It is a nodal agency at national level to address the higher educational needs of the country by producing and disseminating multimedia education content. Sir has been nominated by the Government of Maharashtra as a chairman of the steering committee to examine, evaluate, fulfill, and enhance bilateral educational ties between France and Government Maharashtra. He has also been nominated as a member of the steering committee on city resilience strategy for Pune, supported by 100 resilient cities. This is pioneered by Rockefeller Foundation. Honorable Chairman UGC has constituted an expert committee for drafting subject-specific templates for learning outcome-based curriculum framework for undergraduate and postgraduate level and has composed the Committee on Geology under the chairmanship of Sir. Sir's dynamic leadership has been witnessed by all of us during his responsibility as a Vice Chancellor of SPPU. With this brief introduction, now I request respected Dr. Karmalkar Sir to guide us and share his thoughts on challenges and opportunities to offer multidisciplinary courses in technical education.
Namaskar. Distinguished Dayas, Principal Mrs. Kalyani Joshi, Professor Dr. Sutane, Vice Chancellor, CEO at the Technology University, my fellow colleague in the university, basically worked as a Senate member and subsequently in many other bodies, Professor Shyamkant Deshmukh, and respected audience. It's indeed a privilege to be with you all, discussing and deliberating on NEP 2020. Whenever something gets introduced new, 3 questions arise. Why, when, and how? So why this policy has come into play, we had discussed it over perhaps last 2 years, because it's 2020. It has come into basically in existence in 2020, and last 2 years we've been discussing, deliberating through workshops, seminars on what are the various facets of this new education policy. The two other aspects, when and how. So when is obviously from this coming academic year, and how, for that only the state government has formulated a committee, steering committee, and I'm chairing that committee, and we've been actually discussing or rather participating in various different forums, understanding first of all the mindset of you all people, because you are going to execute it. So what different problems you have, or issues you have, or concerns you have, those concerns perhaps we'll listen to, and then we'll discuss a little bit on that. And then this whole basically committee is the bridge between the government and the teaching community as well, wherein we try to address or resolve various concerns that we carry. So if you look at the preamble of this particular new education policy, there's a sentence that in fact was discussed during the last seminar on this very platform, basically, that the destiny of the nation will be decided in the classrooms of schools and colleges. So that is the importance basically been given. So wherein we intend to actually address a large community, the student community, which we consider to be a demographic dividend, and considering them as basically the future citizens or people contributing to the development of this particular nation, what different facets can be provided through education. Of course, I belong to the traditional faculty, that is science. Engineering obviously has the 4 years program. In traditional system, basically, we are generally a 3 years degree program, and from there we are actually switching over 4 years degree program. So for engineering faculty, perhaps you mean very much about the workload. That is going to be the concern, especially for the traditional courses, 3 years degree program, wherein there is going to be some new increase in the workload, and how do we adjust that? Whether is government going to pay extra for that? So all those things basically, to a great extent, these are the concerns basically we have faced, especially by dealing with the traditional courses. Engineering, I don't see that particular problem. The other aspect that has been talked about, the national curricular framework, higher education curriculum framework, wherein the UGC has come up with the guidelines that got declared in the month of December, wherein the degree course is going to be for 120 credits for 3 years, and for 4 years is going to be 160 credits. Okay, and in that, the other provision that is being provided is called the multiple entry and multiple exit. What was the necessity of providing this kind of a flexibility to the student? We have seen, especially during COVID, many of the children, many of the students basically lost their parents, or perhaps the parents lost their job now. And obviously, because of financial crunch, many of them could not continue with the education as well. They have compulsorily to take exit from permanently, in fact, from the education system. There are two aspects to basically this entry and exit vertical aspect. One, we intend to retain the student in education, and second, perhaps as has been talked about the honorable principle, that the demographic dividend is almost 70% population of India in another 10 years would be in the age range of 25 to 30. So it can be a dividend only if they're properly sort of groomed or proper education being provided. Otherwise, it could be a disaster if they choose a wrong path. So to retain them, the window has been widened to 7 years. So in 7 years, he can complete the education. Secondly, basically, we are moving from STEM to STEAM, science, technical, engineering, and mathematics. In that, an additional thing that has been added is the social science, humanities, or arts. That is another flexibility that has been provided, especially for the student belonging to the engineering fraternity or engineering faculties. I remember, in fact, this was a discussion that we had almost 4 years before time when I was shouldering the responsibility of Vice Chancellor of Pune University. On one of the platform, in fact, Vikram Kirloskar, the Toyota CEO, who passed away very recently. In fact, he was a student of COAP. And that is what he was mentioning, that the engineering, most of the engineering fraternity basically, they are in that respect are dry people. They have never been exposed to social science, there is no humanity involved. So somewhere, in fact, this particular aspect needs to be introduced. That he spoke to me almost 4 years before time, and perhaps the new education policy has taken cognizance of that and have introduced this arts or humanities as one of the basically faculty, even engineering also. So now the student will have a flexibility of taking some courses even from social sciences or from humanities also. Somewhere basically when it comes to engineering, you always have talked about skilling, some vocational thing already been introduced as such. For traditional courses, these were missing. So it's a blend of vocational, professional, technical, and the traditional. That kind of a blend is now being talked about for the traditional education. But in engineering, you already have taken care of that. So fourth year of there is a essential sort of a constituent that has been made more or less mandatory, which is going to be the internship or research. That perhaps you already are doing basically. To provide internship, obviously, a strong networking is very essential. And for engineering courses, obviously, the interaction has to be, or interconnectivity has to be with industry. And therefore, obviously, you have to have a sort of a large sort of collaborative sort of an effort with this industry or a consortium we need to create as well. On the campus of the University of Pune, I can share this particular experience that somewhere in RUSA it was made mandatory. When we received some funds, then the university got a graded autonomy. Along with that, certain additional things that we received, funds under the RUSA, Rashtriya Uchchata Shikshana Abhiyan, and which was to the tune of about 100 crores. Obviously, they were going to come in 3 or 4 installments. But certain things were made mandatory that you need to create a sectionate company to promote entrepreneurship. So the Startup India or Stand Up India concept is somewhere linked. And then obviously on the campus, we generally run mostly the traditional disciplines like science, arts, commerce, or humanities. It became a little difficult for us, but we thought of like, let's actually take this as an opportunity. And prior that we studied this, which are the institute actually hosting such kind of a companies on their campuses. And one of the best sort of a ecosystem that got developed was on the campuses of Chennai IIT. Chennai IIT actually has a sectionate company and which to an extent provides a space to almost more than 100 odd or more than that, in fact, presently startups as such. And wherein this particular company takes the responsibility of mentoring the student, the ideation camp, boot camp, through which the proper idea gets selected, seed funds are provided, and then all the basically required facilities are provided on the campus. So this kind of ecosystem they have created almost 20 years before time. I think Professor Junjunwala was to a great extent pioneered basically this concept on the campus of the IIT Chennai. So looking at that particular model, we in fact tried to adopt it on the campus of the University of Pune. And this particular experience, in fact, helped university, first of all, in providing visibility to the university both at the national and international level. At the same time, presently there are 40 startups that were created through this mentoring process as such. We also provide them seed fund, provide them space on the campus. And presently, I'm happy to say that out of the 40, 3 of them are unicorn. So that is the strength basically it has, creating such kind of ecosystem. And the best part of this particular company was a sort of a connect getting developed with the industry. So roughly around 150 odd industries now actually are part and parcel of this SPPU Research Park Foundation. And they not necessarily only provide the mentorship, but they also in fact being provided space on the campus. There is a co-location provided to their R&D units as well. So one example could be the Kirloskar in fact started with a sort of a unit that's called Center for Industry 4.0. And in fact, initially they were working out outside the campus, somewhere close to Dashabhuja Ganapati on Karve Road. And I was asked basically in the capacity of Vice Chancellor just to make a cursory visit to this particular unit. Then when I looked at it, I thought like you are doing good thing, but at a wrong place. You should be positioned somewhere on the campus. And they readily accepted it. But at the same time, they were a little concerned that I would be asking them for some huge amount of money basically, as maybe they rent for the space that I'm going to provide. I said I'm not interested in that money part, basically as the rent and all that. I am interested that my students should work as interns in your company, whatever project that you undertake. Perhaps that is what I would stress more upon in the MOU that we sign. And not only the internship, but some amount of a fellowship also you can provide. I'm happy, in fact, to share this particular experience now. Pune being an auto cluster, every week almost, the best of the auto companies basically, let that be Mitsubishi, let that be Mercedes, all of them, all their CEOs and basically the technical officers, they come and discuss and deliberate on various different problems they face. And they get resolved basically through this particular company, wherein obviously making industry smart, you're making use of IoT, you're making use of machine learning, you're making use of AI, and so many other different facets of the IoT basically. And wherein the students actually are participating in resolving all those issues. And eventually, obviously, they get absorbed also in this various companies. So that is perhaps the strength this particular ecosystem has. And that is what is expected. In fact, when you intend to provide them internship, obviously, you need to actually have a strong sort of a bondage with the industry. You being basically belonging to the engineering fraternity, obviously, you can have that. But for a traditional courses, it becomes a little difficult. So, internships can be provided, fellowships also can be provided. Then to a great extent, basically, their ideas get mentored and entrepreneurial skills also being provided. Right from starting a company, what different aspects you need to look at. How do you access the market? Where from you will get the funds? And how do you basically market your product? All those kind of things basically is being assistance is provided to this kind of company. And this has helped a traditional university. You being basically belonging to engineering faculty, obviously it would create a wonderful kind of ecosystem. That is what is the aim of the new education policy, wherein the internship or the research that the student would be undertaking should be in collaboration with the industry on an issue or a problem which is of societal importance, rather than just replicating a kind of research that generally happens in the traditional education system, that studying the pollution of a river, we just keep on changing the name of the rivers from maybe uh, from Krishna to Koina to Panchaganga, but we don't resolve any issue. We just been talking about like, yes, this is polluted, the pollution has gone to that extent and this extent, and nothing beyond. Those are the kind of basically research that has been happening in traditional courses. But here, obviously, because of the strong bondage that we create with the industry, or the industry issue, the industry problem become your problem, and in partnership you can resolve it. And that, to an extent, will provide a sort of an employee assured sort of kind of employability to the aspirational youth of this particular country. And that is what this particular policy aims at. So the flexibility that has been provided, you can adopt almost more than 30% of your courses from all other different disciplines as well. 70%, 60% should be your core courses as well. In generally, in traditional system, you can have one major or you can have two majors. Perhaps in engineering also you can have two majors. And 50% of the basically emphasis of the 120 credits or 160 credits has to be devoted to your major courses. Remaining all, he has the flexibility. He can take them from all different disciplines, including humanities and social science. So this kind of a flexibility is being provided. Then secondly, if he doesn't cope up with the system, he is not doing well. Generally, it used to be a no return path. Once you get into engineering, you cannot go back to any other discipline. This particular policy provides that particular sort of flexibility, that if he is not doing well, without losing a year, he can switch over to maybe arts, maybe humanities, maybe to science, maybe to commerce. Without losing year means whatever credits he has acquired will get credited to his account, and he will carry them forward to whatever discipline that he is switching over. This wasn't there previously. Like we have seen most of the time, especially the what particular discipline one has to choose or a student has to choose, it gets decided by not by the student, but many times it is by the parents. Out of compulsion, in fact, every parent feels that my son or a daughter has to be either a doctor or as an engineer, compulsory disorder. And to make that realize, they've been constantly basically working for a whole day, perhaps they're out of their house, serving in some industry, serving in some unit. So money on basically is spent on the education of the student with that dream basically that my son or my daughter would be the best engineer or best doctor, would be serving with a maybe Infosys or some other. But generally we don't realize that whether he is actually interested in that subject or not, whether he has the required passion for it. So many times so happens that the very first year, being a vice chancellor, I faced it many times, that at the end of the year, there would be agitations, morjas coming to the student. Instead of 3 subject etiquette, make it 4 subject etiquette, so we can carry forward. And at the end of it, maybe because of compulsion, basically, because compulsions are manifold. Societal compulsion, once you are admitted for engineering, obviously society is looking at, and that is what parents keep on telling you. Parents are also looking at you. There's a pressure constantly. And then this kind of a creature continues with it. And later on, obviously, even otherwise completes his engineering, not necessarily in 4 years, maybe 5 years, 6 years. He doesn't find job in the market. It's they are me. I can tell you, like I stay very close to Pasha and Sus. Presently, there is a recruitment happening for the policemen. 20% of the candidates are actually engineers. So isn't it we must think over, we must introspect, like where do we have gone wrong? And therefore, this particular education policy provides that introspection. Somewhere we can rectify the mistakes, or I would not call them mistake, the experience that we have basically, on the basis of the experience we have gained over the last so many years. How do we change the fate of the student? How do we actually put him on the right sort of a distance? So that flexibility is provided in this particular education policy, wherein he can switch over without losing. Because all the time he is under pressure, like if I leave it in between, I'm losing 1 or 2 years. Parents are worried that he's losing 2 years and beyond that money that is spent. So somewhere he has a solace that I can switch over to the subject that I like the most without losing year, without losing the money, because the credits are actually getting credited to his courses. So that is the best sort of option that has been provided. Window is of 7 years, multiple entry, multiple exit as such. But there is a hitch in it. Like when he is taking an exit, no one will decide on the very first day that I'm going to do only 1 year and I'm going to take exit. Exits are generally happen accidentally. Something goes wrong with basically with his financial resources, or something goes wrong with maybe especially in a female community, she gets married and then halfway she has to leave the education herself. But again, there wasn't any further re-entry to this that is being provided. And in that, the window is made of 7 years. But there's a hitch. If you intend to leave it, certain mandatory credits you must undergo. So maybe related to skilling, maybe related to internship, maybe related to entrepreneurial skills, so that with that certification, with those credits, he will get his livelihood immediately once he take a exit. Not necessarily he would be a CEO, but at least somewhere in the basically society, whatever certificate is carrying gets accepted, and he will get the necessary kind of employment. So that is the flexibility that we provide. And this is perhaps is the most striking feature of the new education policy. Then the other important aspect that has been talked about basically, that he can take credits from any other higher education institution. So if he is taking admission in COAP, doesn't necessarily mean basically he will be taking everything from COAP. He can acquire some credits maybe from social sciences, maybe some credits from IITs. So that kind of a flexibility is there. There's a concept called ABC, Academic Bank of Credit, wherein the institution has to do the enrollment, need to get registered on this particular portal. The student also individually can get enrolled too. And then whatever amount of credit he earns from outside will get validated through this particular portal, and then will get credited to his account. And whenever he completes the requisite number of credits, obviously he will be awarded the degree. So a horizontal mobility is being provided. You can have multiple sort of courses. You can take it from different institutions. In fact, this kind of process happens in European education. I always refer it to whenever I talk to. There's a process called Bologna process. So European Union, you all know that it's actually a consortium of more than 25 different European countries as well. And in that it has been made mandatory that one semester he will do in this nation with this university. Next semester, obviously, he will be doing in different university, in different, perhaps not only university, but in different nation, European nation. So he is exposed to a different culture, exposed to a different ecosystem. He gets to learn a different language. And that is what In fact, this policy also speaks of he must get exposed to at least 2 or 3 different languages. First of all, he should be provided the sort of a facility of taking education in his own mother tongue. So engineering perhaps in Marathi, though a person belonging to Marathi basically, or if he is from Karnataka, he can learn it from Kannada. And then apart from that, English and maybe some other language. So that language which generally used to be a barrier many times, in fact, that also, and most of us, in fact, we all have come, the majority of us, we have come from this background only, that when many of you could be from Marathi. So while in fact talking also, we think first of all and then convert it. Is it not? That is always basically while speaking, we make a sentence basically think it like how think in Marathi and try to convert it in English. So with that kind of a basically mindset, obviously learning gets little difficult. But the same is provided basically in his own language. Obviously, he can acquire it fast. And that is the emphasis that is being provided, that you can learn it in your own language as well. So language also has not been made a barrier sort of, which otherwise used to be in the previous system as well. And therefore, in fact, I think the Pimpri-Chinchwad College of Engineering did the first experiment of teaching engineering in Marathi. And this actually, perhaps it's the 3rd year they are running. In fact, and number of students, in fact, they are attracted is also a large number actually. Of course, when you switch over to a new language, obviously the first question comes, where are the textbooks? How do I teach and what kind of textbooks I refer to as well? And well, therein basically the state government is trying to help us out. In Mumbai, IIT basically, there is software that got created only for converting, translating these books, English books, into local languages as such. And we've been trying to make use of it. A couple of books we already have translated, in fact, without losing the proper meaning of it. In fact, that is what is more important. So it should not be just a notional kind of a translation. Instead, it has to be very robust and a proper kind of a translation. And with that software, in fact, that is what we intend to make it more or less compulsory, at least mandatory, or rather give the option to the colleges that they can acquire that particular software, and wherein the translation of the material, which is otherwise in English, can be made possible in different languages, including Marathi as well as many regional languages it takes care of. So, in fact, the committee, this present sort of a steering committee, is working on all those minor issues also. Like we understand, being a teacher, what all problems you all can face and how do we resolve them as well. So, while doing basically this, skilling is also an important constituent of it. You are in Pune, perhaps you can provide them best of the skills with the help of the industry and that. But think of a person who is doing engineering maybe in a remote area. There is no industry in and around it. So what kind of a skilling component, who is going to provide him the internship and the skill sets as such? So here actually we are trying to take help of the skill university. Recently you all know the state of Maharashtra started a skill university. Otherwise, what will happen that in the Act of 2016 University Act, this provision is made like you can have private skill providers, but who is going to validate them? Like what skill they are providing? Otherwise, there would be all sort of a mushrooming of agencies start providing this kind of skilling, and without validation, obviously. That one great extent basically will hamper the quality of the education. And therefore, we are making it sort of we have made an appeal, or rather we have taken the skill university on the pay, and constantly we are having a dialogue with them that you actually do the handshake with most of the industry in the state of Maharashtra, and through them provide the necessary skills. And those skills, obviously, you will validate them. So in an area wherein, in a remote area wherein this kind of opportunity is not there, providing the actual working experience or experiential learning, therein, in fact, this will come very handy, that skills through the skill university can be provided to an extent as well. So what I'm trying to actually explain or rather emphasize more that we have to look now beyond the campus. We need to have many partnerships. We need to have many collaborations as well. And to do so, obviously, it's not going to be easy. That most of the time we always looked at the university, looked at the industry as maybe some we gain some finance through CSR and all that. Or we always looked at them in that particular respect. But providing them a space on the campus, providing space physically, maybe in the form of a R&D unit, getting co-located on your campus, or maybe involving that particular person for teaching purpose, or for mentoring your research project, or formulating the curriculum also. That is going to be also very important. Of course, being a vice chancellor, I know it has been mandatory on paper that while you are doing your curriculum or framing your syllabus, you require to have one particular person or a member coming from industry. But we always are remain in compliance mode. You all know that how the BOS gets formulated and how the syllabus gets formulated. So you scratch my back, I scratch your back, and that kind of actually things always happen. And then we always have come in compliance. In fact, we adopted choice-based credit system 20 years before time. But the teaching community was so wise that they gave a choice to the student in the same department. I mean, the course to great extent got divided into 70% core courses, 30% related courses. So he never got a choice. And he was taught or he was given what the teachers knew. Always it has been basically what I understand that I'm going to teach. It's not that what you require. And perhaps that is the failure of the choice-based credit system. I never seen a student basically of engineering or a science taking courses from maybe commerce or economics. Never it happened actually, because too many complaints, too many in fact problems were told to me like syllabus is going, the timetable is going to be a problem, sir, because the social science courses start in the morning, science happens in the afternoon. How do we actually corroborate this particular timetable? So it's very difficult. So it never happened. In fact, I share an experience when I was doing my postdoctoral work in Sydney, Macquarie University. I used to get some free time. So one day I asked a student, so which faculty you belong to? What course you are doing and which faculty you belong to? He said, I have taken admission to a college. And the faculty and everything I'll decide next year. The first year is going to be a foundation year. I'm exposed to everything. I'm getting maybe facets of every different discipline. And based on that, we decide late. Let's welcome the chairman of the Progressive Education Society, Professor Dr. Ekbute sir. So that is the flexibility I could see, in fact, a student taking in. We always compare, no, European system, American system, and all that. But this is perhaps the flexibility advantage we always carry when we is studying outside, sort of. And we need to provide it in our own system also. Apart from that, like when we speak about multidisciplinarity, I also remember another incident. A student who used to play, he was a guitarist. In fact, he used to perform professional concerts and all that. He was earning quite a good amount of money. And he was doing his engineering. I said, how does this get connected? Like, you're a guitarist, doing wonderful job and all that, like earning enough. Why do you intend to spend so much of your time doing engineering? But the answer that he gave awakening. Like he said, like, so unless and until I understand the physics of the vibration and the mechanical engineering aspect of it, perhaps I will not be a good guitarist. So that's the reason I'm doing it. And this is what we are seeing. In fact, in India also, many of the engineering students, in fact, they have later on switched over to a different discipline, but the foundational sort of knowledge that they have acquired has helped them in that particular profession that they have adapted to. It has always been talked about what is the multidisciplinarity that we can think of in engineering. So marketing, economics, commerce, all this knowledge of all that is required. And in fact, we are seeing most of the engineers after completing their engineering, they go for MBA. Is it not? The trend is changing. From MBA now, people go for a design, and design in that also design thinking. It is not the actual sort of a floor shop you go and work on the design aspect. But the basically design thinking. Right? If I intend to bring in something in this country, just I share an example. Like think of the Maruti when they started manufacturing in India, the first car. Today, if you look at, we can think of like whether it was really suited for this particular country. A person of my height cannot be accommodated easily in that. The terrain on which in fact is moving and all that. So now the design thinking means for this particular terrain, for this particular climate, for this particular sort of a class of people with this particular economy he is carrying, what is the best model I can provide it to him? And that is what you can see a phenomenal change is happening. The kind of model that we see in cars or even in the mobile basically. So this particular aspect is understood the best after doing engineering, in fact. And that is the multidisciplinarity that we can think of. The CEO of Turkish Airlines is actually do not belong to basically your MBA. He belongs to the liberal arts. He belongs to basically design. And that is what the whole chain that has been happening. So multidiscipline in engineering is also not going to be all that difficult. Yesterday, I was, in fact, I spent about 3.5 hours in one of the famous museums of Pune. Probably you all, if you all belong to Pune, perhaps you are aware of Raja Dinkar Kelkar Museum. And I got connected in the capacity of a vice chancellor because they have a board of management, and wherein one of the members of that board of management happens to be the vice chancellor of the University of Pune. So during COVID, in fact, the person, the CEO of that, came down to me and said, like, I require your signature. That is the first time I understood I happen to be a member of that committee. And then he started narrating the story. 1.5 years has been, everything is closed basically. So no fees been earned and all that. We have staff of 11, 12 people. And how do I run this particular institute now? Because the amount of funds that I received from the government is first of all very meager, and that also I don't receive every year. So then I started thinking over like I visited the museum. I said like I can convert this museum into a department of museumology, basically, wherein we can start certain courses as such, read courses, management, conservation, or digital museumology, and many other aspects. In fact, design thinking and all that. And then I can, once I give that particular recognition as a department to you, I can provide you a budget for that. So 60 lakh rupees for that particular department. I said, this is going to be notional. I'm not taking away your museum, but I'm going to make use of it as an experiential center where my student will actually go and learn it by themselves, basically. What is the conservation? How do I go for a digital sort of photography? How do I go for a digital museumology? All that, the metaverse techniques that can be made use of. So the horizons are so widened, sort of like wherein you can make use of all this existing sort of things, centers actually. And that is what we were discussing yesterday, wherein the famous singer Mahesh Kale and myself and Dr. Mashalkar, we spent around 3.5 hours. How do I actually convert this as an experiential center and involve right from the school kids to a postgraduate or a doctoral student? And for that conversion, what different vertical that we need to work on. So this is what is a multidisciplinary, wherein you can perhaps have shake hands with many outside organizations, including social organizations as well, wherein basically the student can be provided a more of a kind of a community engagement. Is it not? And that is what this policy speaks about, or rather provides that kind of flexibility. I can go on talking, in fact, and first of all, I have a passion for this. And this is what actually, as a vice chancellor, always I used to think of like, what best that I can provide to the student. Of course, we have been bound by rules and regulations. If I have to make someone from an industry as a research guide, he has to be a doctorate, he has to have two publications, the publication has to be listed in the care and all those kind of things. But sometimes basically a wise leader will take help of basically other people, like formulate a committee, look at his experience, whatever publication, he may not have in fact any, but the general biodata that can be assessed. And in fact, he can be actually accepted as a research guide. I always used to keep on questioning myself. The person who did his PhD first time, who was his guide? The first PhD that was produced, who was the guide for that particular person? So why always think about like these rules and regulations? You can always, if your purpose and intent is clear, you can accordingly make changes, and that is what is required. The rules are there as guidelines. I always used to tell my finance person or other people that I want to do this. Don't tell me it can't be done. You tell me how it can be done. I wanted to start a campus basically in Qatar. I got a proposition from Qatar government that we are looking for an Indian university to set up their campus. I accepted. But being a state university, of course, there were limitations. I had to take permission to the state government. But once I got it, it's until later to UGC. It's been almost a year that I've been retired late. Till date, I have not received any response from the UGC. But my campus is in the second or third year. I already started. And that is how basically you can in fact bring people together, collaborate with them, and that is our aim is obviously is provide basically best of the education to the student community. And when you speak about student, obviously we are parents, we are actually looking at our own kids also. The kind of education that we are providing in schools and colleges, obviously somewhere in some college, my kid or my daughter, my son is also learning. So this is basically the strength this particular new education policy carries. And I'm pretty sure today and tomorrow you will be exposed to various different facets of this new education policy, and you will really get tempted. I understand when I came over here, I looked at you, you all were sitting with long faces. What is this thing that will get discussed today and tomorrow? And what this teaching community actually has a role to play in this. But you have a wonderful role to play, I'm telling you. And true to the sentence that's been talked about in the preface of the new education policy, that the destiny of the nation will get decided in the schools and colleges of this country, and wherein you would be contributing in changing basically the fate of the student as well as the fate of the country. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir. In this auditorium, earlier also because of our visionary chairman, respected Dr. Ekbote sir, we had an opportunity to listen to your profound talk about various nuances related to implementation of NEP 2020. We are thankful to both of you, sir. Today's sir's insightful thoughts about challenges and opportunities to offer multidisciplinary courses in technical education and various other related aspects will surely help us all academicians to adapt NEP 2020 framework in immediate future. Thank you, Arvind sir. Now for further proceedings, I hand over to Dr. Mrs. Itkar madam.
Thank you, thank you, Kamtha madam. For today's inauguration function, we have all the visionary academic leaders as dignitaries on the dais. We take this opportunity to express a deep sense of gratitude towards all the dignitaries through felicitations. I request Honorable Chairman, Professor Dr. G.R. Ekbote Sir, to felicitate today's chief guest, Professor Dr. Nitin Karmalkar Sir, ex-Vice Chancellor, SPPU Pune. Thank you, sir. I request Honorable Chairman Professor Dr. G.R. Ekbote Sir to felicitate today's guest of honor and keynote speaker of this QIP, Professor Dr. M.S. Sutane Sir, Vice Chancellor, COEP Technological University, Pune. Thank you, sir. I request Principal Dr. Kalyani Joshi Madam to felicitate President of today's function, Professor Dr. G.R. Ekbote Sir, Chairman Business Council, Progressive Education Society. Under the visionary leadership of Honorable Chairman Dr. Ekbote Sir, our institute is reaching to new heights in the field of education. Thank you, Madam. Now I request Principal Dr. Joshi Madam to felicitate Professor Shamkant Deshmukh Sir, Secretary, Progressive Education Society and Coordinator of PS MCOE. He always support and encourage us in overall activities of the institute. Thank you, Madam. Thank you, sir. Now I hand over the mic to Professor Kamthe Madam for the introduction of Dr. Sutane sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Itkar madam. Now I take this opportunity to introduce our today's guest of honor and keynote speaker, respected Dr. Mukul Sutane sir. I'm very happy and fortunate to get this opportunity to introduce an well-known academician to whom me and many others present who are here know as a very good teacher of image and signal processing and also as a head of electronics and telecommunication department, Government College of Engineering. Dr. Mukul Sutane is professor in electronics and telecommunication department at College of Engineering, Pune. With over 30 years of experience in academics, research and industry, Professor Sutane sir has taken over as first Vice Chancellor of COEP Technological University and has handled various responsibilities such as Director, Deputy Director, Dean Academics, Dean International Relations, Head of the Department, and the list goes on. His areas of work and interest in teaching and research are statistical and adaptive signal processing, wireless communication and networks, and statistical modeling of data. He has conceived, practiced, executed, and steered many innovative academic experiments in curriculum design and delivery for the students and faculty of his institute, SPPU, and other aspiring institutes mentored by him. In the capacity of principal investigator of the Center of Excellence in Signal and Image Processing, a World Bank funded project by MHRD Government of India. Professor Sutavane sir has been associated with the development and conversion of prototypes from mere proof of concept to transferable technologies. Some of such projects are video stabilization for cell phones, automated inspection system for PCB fault detection, density and direction detection for stampeds, and optimal microphone arrays for audio beam forming. With quite a chunk, or I'll say handsome number of contributed and cited publications to his credit, he is an applauded resource person in many conferences, workshops, and symposia. Professor Sutavane is recipient of Professor SVC Ayya IET National Award for Excellence in Telecommunication. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon all, namaskar. Privileged to share dais with revered personalities in education, Dr. NHEQF sir and Professor Nitin Karmakar, my friend and fellow colleague from last 2 decades almost, Professor Mrs. Kalyani Rishi. We share the domain of teaching and research, signal processing, Professor Shamkant Deshmukh, Secretary of PES Modern Society. Above all, you all participants who volunteered to participate in this 2 days national level workshop on NEP 2020. I really salute SPPU's initiative, aggressive initiative in disseminating everything about NEP. This has been my third QIP kind of at Srinagar College for one, in my own college now here, that they have really taken a breath just to disseminate all information about NEP. And it was sponsored QIP at PES Modern College of Engineering also. Actually, the Kalyani Doshi indicated a topic to me, suggested a topic to me for my keynote. It was role of teacher is changing, should change, because change is the only constant, as Professor Shamkant Deshmukh said. The role of teacher should change, no doubt. In the scenario, on the backdrop of NEP 2020, no doubt. But then challenges, opportunities, and avenues the teacher should have will avail when there is a multilingual regional language kind of engineering education. I am an engineering teacher through and through from last 3 decades, and then how the role of teacher will change, that I've been indicated to talk about. And really, I myself am challenged by it, because to talk in front of authority in education like Professor Karmakar, to talk after him is a great challenge for me. Then Madam Kalyani Doshi indicated to me that I should be talking for 90 minutes. It was a keynote. And to compress the session, it was a full-fledged session, and the teacher should prepare, no? Should prepare. So I prepared a presentation. So it was a 30 slide presentation meant for 90 minutes and so on. And to compress the session from 90 minutes to 30 minutes is a big challenge for a teacher. Patient listening audience, students, and I was like, okay, 60 minutes. And then such a diversified domain specialist, Professor Karmakar. And then he really can go on and on the topic of NEP. He had been a mentor for COEP in its autonomous status for 4 or 5 years. And then that is a challenge for me. I had to compress everything in 30 minutes on the lighter side. But anyways, I'll be endorsing most of the narrations of Professor Karmakar. Who am I to really negate or contradict his statements? And my some perception about role of a teacher, change role of a teacher in light of NEP 2020. I'll try to comment on that, keeping my presentation apart. And then we'll have my own kind of some articulation, which I generally present at such a fora. Teachers' role, are teachers redundant by the way now? Online education in pandemic era, tried to prove that teachers could be redundant. Okay, I am really a fond worshipper of a teacher. Gurunna I am Vandan Kela Pahije. And there is always a very prominent role played by everybody's life, by gurus. Professor Karmakar was endorsing that we have to be, destiny of a nation is really moves to an education and so on. That is true really. पण इंडिया हॅज टू बी नॉलेज सुपर पॉवर. विश्वगुरु झालं पाहिजे असं NEPचं विजन. वी शुड बी नॉलेज सुपर पॉवर. And how without gurus we can be knowledge superpower, how we can be. Okay. And then some era, sometimes at some junctures of time, many situations prove that teachers are redundant. When Coursera and edX and NPTEL, so many platforms are available, then why a student from COEP would take a course on signals and systems from Professor Sutone, when Professor Gagre, an authority in signals and systems at IIT Bombay, wants to has a recorded sessions, 40 sessions, very full-fledged, very comprehensive on signals and systems, where they would learn from me. But teachers would never be redundant. Our role will keep on changing. It will never be redundant. That's the first kind of message I want to really strongly give to all of you. We are there, we are gurus, and we are there to mold and groom, cultivate, nourish the students, our students' future, really. So we are nation builders. We are really nation builders. That role will never change. That role will never change. We are nation builders, certainly. Now, how NEP will force us to change our modality, our nature, by the way. Nature never changes, by the way, but how it will force to change our methodology, our philosophy, our thought process as a teacher, how it will change. So, as Professor Karmakar was saying, that NEP is a facilitating policy, actually. Policy happens to be, it's really an outcome of very deliberative thought process. And we understand that it went for 4, 5, 6 years, and it was a Kasturi Rangan chaired, the Dr. Kasturi Rangan, accomplished scientist chaired the total NEP document making process. It was inclusive, democratic, sent to all the teachers. Feedback was invited, inputs were invited, and at the end in October 2020, it was announced. Last 2 years, there are many hammering terms on all of us. We attended many online workshops, many in-person workshops, and so on. So ABC and then MEME, असे खूप तुम्हाला acronyms कळले. Okay. So Karmakar also gave his own interpretation, his own insight about whether we elaborated what is this ABC, what is this MEME, and so on. That also happened. But there has been an emphasis on the teaching engineering in local languages, regional languages. That's the proposition. Okay. How will we adopt it? That's the question. And there has been a lot of emphasis on multidisciplinary education. He elaborated on that. Interdisciplinary education and transdisciplinary education. Okay. There are two these policy statements I'll try to little bit throw a light upon as per my capacity and capability. Multilingual education or regional language education of engineering, by the way. I'm an engineering teacher. And then second is what is all about this adopting and being accommodative about multidisciplinarity, interdisciplinarity, and transdisciplinarity. And then how we can change our role in light of these two kind of policy statements. Professor Deshmukh said it very rightly, that policy is the outcome of thought process, no doubt. But then when policy tends to become law, and law converts to regulation, regulation converts to so many publications by UGC. And there are frameworks now, NHEQF, NCRF, असे खूप काय काय येत राहतं आपल्याला. Basic document of NEP is 66 pages. आणि मग आपल्याकडे जेव्हा त्याचा फ्लड ऑफ डॉक्युमेंट्स कोर्स इन फ्रॉम UGC इन द फॉर्म ऑफ NHEQF आणि खूप काय काय येत राहतं. Then we really get jumbled that what is all about. Okay. And we need then translator like Professor Karmakar, याच्या आतमध्ये काहीतरी काय आहे. सो गव्हर्नमेंट ऑफ महाराष्ट्र राईटली गिव्हिंग सुकाणू समिती म्हणतात त्याला मराठीमध्ये. ऑल ऑफ यू आर कम्फर्टेबल मराठी ना? सगळे पुण्याचेच आहेत का महाराष्ट्रातले तसं पण अजिंग करू. सो कारण काय आहे की मला टॉपिकच तसा दिला आहे आपण लोकल लँग्वेजमध्ये इंजिनिअरिंग एज्युकेशन करावं की नाही करावं. ओके. सो वी नीड लॉट ऑफ ट्रान्सलेशन अँड मिनिंग बिटवीन द वर्ड्स अँड मिनिंग बियॉन्ड द वर्ड्स, meaning behind the words. So Professor Karmakar is really a true expert, and therefore my job in this half an hour has been made easy by him. Okay. Let me comment on whatever I wanted to comment, otherwise in my 90-minute session. Role of a teacher. I said we are never redundant. We are a mandatory part of education system. There are only two entities, teacher and learner. That's all. Okay. But teacher happens to be lifelong learner. Do you agree? We are lifelong learners. At least technology teachers are lifelong learners. What a technology I learned 30 years ago, 35 years ago when I graduated from NIT Nagpur, that technology is obsolete. The courses I learned from diode and transistor and so on, today they are obsolete. I have to learn semiconductor chip design. Okay, so I learned it 4 5 years ago, and then I'm teaching it. So I'm a best example of lifelong learner. That role of teacher will never conclude. Never conclude. We have to be lifelong learners. Only a true lifelong learner can make students to be lifelong learners. Is it not? And lifelong learning is a attribute, is a virtue. Is it not? When we say that you have to be guru all the time, then that learner also has to be all the time learner. And that attribute can be transferred only by a lifelong learning teacher. Otherwise, not possible. So, role of a teacher as a lifelong learner will never change. Will it change? NEP 2050 आली काय का 2021 आली काय? आपला रोल चेंज होतो का? नाही, it will not. It will certainly not change. Then 30 years ago when I joined COEP as a teacher, I was very happy teacher. Happy in the sense, no internet, no Google, nothing, no WhatsApp. कुठल्याच युनिव्हर्सिट्या नव्हत्या अशा. ओके, नो सर्च इंजिन, काहीच नाही, मेल नाही, काही नाही, काही नाही. अँड लायब्ररी, ओनली वन लायब्ररी, त्याच्यात पण पुस्तकं कमी, मुलांची पुस्तकांसाठी रांग, आणि मग ते एका पुस्तकाच्या 5-7 कॉपीज, मुलं तर 80, मग तिथे रांग लावायची, मग त्याला कधी नशिबाने पुस्तक मिळायचं, कधी पाहिजे असलेली पानं फाटलेली असायची, त्या चोरी गेलेली असायची. And only resource and source of information and knowledge for the student was the teacher. I joined this education by choice when that was the era. Okay, and then no presentation, everything bold. So bold पण कसा green bin नाही, white तर नाहीच नाही. COEP चा गरीब institute, आता पण गरीबच होता मी. पण ते it was government college ना that time. So it was all blackboard, painted blackboard. त्याचा पेंटच्या टपल्या टोके उडालेले असायचे. त्याच्यात खडू पण उठायचा नाही. That was a problem really. And the khadu, dusty chalks, all dusty chalks, which would really give me asthma after I go out of session. Okay. And then, so really, it was a fact that I enjoyed. I enjoyed as a teacher from the late 90s, early 2000. I enjoyed. And then it was all teacher dependent teaching. Really, student used to depend on my teaching. Only source of knowledge and information was teacher. They used to appreciate. Feedback was really very obvious on the faces of students. बिकॉज त्यांना कळलं की नाही, डोळ्यातच कळायचं, लगेच डोळ्यातच बोलू शिकवायचं डायरेक्टली. ओके, जांभई नाही, एकही जांभई नाही. So it was like a good teacher used to get applause immediately. Is it not? So therefore my students used to enjoy teaching. I used to enjoy my teaching. They used to enjoy learning. Examinations were tough. COEP, आता पुण्यातले सगळेच कॉलेजेस, फर्ग्युसन होतं आमच्या बरोबर, ते त्या डोमेनचे लोक आहेत. बीजे मेडिकल होतं. पुणे पहिल्यापासूनच खूप खडूस आहे असं लोक म्हणतात. And all teachers of COEP are khadus most. So they used to always give tough examinations to students. So tough examination. आज कल्याण जोशी मॅडम लोकांनी काम केलं. All tough examinations. कुठल्याच पेपरला कॉम्प्रोमाइज नाही. ओके. And when tough examinations are given to the students, त्याचा त्यांना टॉस लागायचा naturally. And the learning outcome was beyond proof. Okay, proved to the society. मग प्लेसमेंटवर काही बांधवाच नसायचे. ओके, प्लेसमेंटवर काही इश्यू नसायचा. सरांनी सांगितलं 30% लोक प्लेसमेंट करतात वगैरे असं. आमच्याकडे जर काहीच नसतं, अजून पण नसतं. दॅट रिगर वॉज मेंटेन, दॅट सिन्सिअरिटी वॉज मेंटेन. इन 2000, पोस्ट 2000 इंटरनेट यायला लागलं, ईमेल्स यायला लागल्यावर सगळं सुरू झालं. आणि institutes like COEP sir suddenly realized that we never went after formal research. We never went for formal research. Formal research is what? For PhD degree. इंजिनिअरिंगच्या लोकांचं काय असतं, BE झालं की जॉब लागायचा ॲज अ टीचर, ॲज अ लेक्चरर, आणि ME झालं की प्रोफेसर व्हायचं. काही प्रॉब्लेमच नाही. सो ME एमटेक प्रोफेसर होऊन जातं. कदाचित आर्ट्स सायन्स कॉमर्समध्ये PhD MPhil कंपल्सरी असेल. आमच्याकडे हायर एज्युकेशन काही नसायचं. So parent institute like COEP in this region realized importance of formal research quite late, post autonomy rather, 2003-4. And then we had that time some aggression for formal PhD program. Okay, and then we had visionary Professor Anil Sasrabudde, who joined us as director in our autonomous status 15-16 years ago, and he ran aggressive PhD program. So all now out of 253 faculty, almost 200 are PhD at COEP. पण सगळ्या टीचर्सना काय करावं लागलं मग, की टीचिंगचं लक्ष थोडंसं काढून घेऊ आपण. मी 2-4 विषय शिकवतो, लक्ष थोडं काढून घेऊ. लेट अस डायल्यूट मायसेल्फ ॲज अ टीचर इन माय टीचिंग लर्निंग. Okay, in my examination, and then focus on my research. Research means publication. That time publication, right? Publication का independent नव्हते असले काही, पण let's say good publication. IEEE transactions on signal processing. आमच्या वेळेला ते स्वप्न असायचं. So let's publish in that. तिकडे नाही तर मग the IET publish करू. So our attention was diverted. Did it enrich Did formal PhD degree enrich me as a teacher? For me, answer was yes. Answer was yes, it's enrich teacher. For other teachers may not be. I don't know, it is person dependent. So, but it enriched and elevated my role. Role of a teacher as just content deliverer changed. Early 2000. It changed to a formal researcher. I say formal intentionally. कारण PhD झालं की रिसर्च संपला असं खूप जण विश्वास करतात आहे ना PhD संपलं की रिसर्च संपलं ओके सो but then the attention was diverted he became researcher then we became research guys so research continues still my students are there but my attention towards teaching learning is sincerely diverted okay I don't remain intense teacher then I have to focus on publications on filing patent on filing copyright and going for technology transfers and so on and so forth various parameters, performance metric came to me very aggressively by national policies. की प्रोफेसर व्हायचं असेल तर मला एक 50 लाखाचा प्रोजेक्ट असायलाच पाहिजे. So teachers they did poor teachers did what? They started writing to DST, to AICT, to UGC. 50 लाखाचा प्रोजेक्ट पाहिजे. Okay. Again my attention was diverted. So I had to write a proposal now. I had to earn money and so on. But एक रिसर्च झाला पब्लिकेशन झाले पेटंट झालं सगळं झालं एक फंडेड प्रोजेक्ट पण झाला Did it enrich me as a teacher? I'm again coming back to it. Did it do that? Personally to me, yes. Answer is yes. It enriched me as a teacher also. But the role went upon diversifying itself. That happened. So I did everything therefore that it was a teaching, then it was examination, it was basic content delivery, content development, all that I did. Okay. I also turned to be a formal researcher, turned to be a PhD guide, earned the project, published good papers, all that kept on happening. Then somebody said to me that I have to have outreach and extension. I must be engaged. As a senior teacher, I must be engaged in outreach and extension. So I must conduct some CEP, some STTP for my industry friends. I should do that. Okay. My domain knowledge of signal processing should be shared, should be delegated, should be disseminated to industry friends also. So I started hunting. Whether taken requires my cognizant requires कोणा काही गरज आहे का माझी शिकवण्याची इंडस्ट्रीच्या लोकांना तर ती होती मात्र it again when I engage in outreach and extension it again enriched my role as a teacher believe me then I became senior probably 45 age and so on so my professor Saswat said you have to administrate now तर तुम्हाला काहीतरी HOD व्हायला पाहिजे मग बरं वाटलं की चला HOD मग खुर्ची मिळाली मग 15 लोक माझं काहीतरी ऐकतायत मी सही करतो कॅज्युअल लीव्हवर काहीतरी चांगलं होत आहे ओके सो आय टू दर्फर ऍड दॅट ऍडमिनिस्ट्रेशन and administration was something which is really habit for me okay when you become administrator मग HOD झाला की डीन व्हायला पाहिजे डीन झालं की तरी ते व्हायला पाहिजे okay and then but there was a performance attached with all the administrative positions at COEP so I started climbing the ladder up from HOD to dean to the category. Then I'm privileged now to be a vice chancellor of that COEP University, the great institute, 169 years old. Okay, it's a great honor for me. I was teacher there for 32 years. I'm the first vice chancellor. खूपच मोठा मान आहे तो एखाद्या व्यक्तीला. But as a teacher, what do? My role kept on changing. In between, COEP had a greater role to play in engineering curriculum design of Pune University. Before 2005, 2004-5 मध्ये ऑटोनॉमस झालं त्याच्या आधी इंजिनिअरिंग कॉलेज COEP was the only dominating institution in Pune University to contribute everything for curriculum design. म्हणजे इंजिनिअरिंग करिक्युलम म्हणजे COEPच्या माणसं सांगतो तो करिक्युलम असं होतं असं विचारा ओके सो वी आर ऑल्सो समटाइम्स करिक्युलम आर्किटेक्ट्स राईट करिक्युलम डिझायनर्स काय हे इथे पाहिजे ते तिथे पाहिजे असं आम्ही म्हणणारे होतो आणि लोक ऐकणारे पण होते दॅट रोल ऑल्सो वी एन्जॉय ॲज टीचर सो टीचर रोल विल कीप ऑन चेंजिंग अजून एक नवीन रोल कुठेतरी आला मध्येच दॅट टीचर शुड बी अ मेंटर फॉर द स्टुडंट्स We never experienced in COEP that a खडूस टीचर इज अ मेंटर ऑफ स्टुडंट्स तर मुलांची तर काळजीच करायची नाही कधी नापास झालं तर बरं आहे आणि जोशी मॅडमला माहिती आहे की आम्ही जेव्हा पहिल्यांदा प्रायव्हेट कॉलेजेसच्या परीक्षा द्यायला जायचो what was probably the metric, the measurement of a good examiner. A good examiner is the one who can fail maximum number of students in the oral. अशी करेक्ट डेफिनेशन होती ओके सो टफनेस सो नॉट नो मेंटरिंग एट ऑल नंतर आजकालचे सायकोलॉजिकल एन्झायटी डिप्रेशन होम सिकनेस हे सगळे आजकालचे टर्म्स आहेत ओके सो नो हार्डनेस इन स्टुडंट्स मग त्यात त्यांना एक मेंटरिंग लागतं, एक काउन्सिलर लागतो. सो अगेन देर इज अ फिगर, additional responsibility added to me. Okay, mentor, teachers were like a mentor. No doubt, we accept it. Teachers are most accommodative entities on campus. Do you agree? हो म्हणा मोठ्याने. Yes, okay. So you have to. So it is always inclusive, right? So whatever role somebody sets on me, I have to follow it. And I have to perform it with the greatest kind of total imbuement within me. Total imbibe. I get it imbibed in myself and then deliver. That I generally do. Okay. Then came outcome-based education. All of you know that? Outcome-based education? Yes. NBA accreditation? Atta NAC पण आहे, right? All of them, NAC and NBA both are now outcome-based accreditations. Okay. And then it added another responsibility on me that everything, whatever I do, should be outcome-oriented. Is it not? So there came course outcome, then came program outcome, then came program-specific outcome, everything. And the attainment calculation, Excel sheet, some MIS, some ERP, प्रत्येक सेमिस्टरला करायचं आहे, एक सेमिस्टर संपलं की all that went on added. So I added such a responsibility on me, but I do it. When I say I, it is we. We are doing it, right? So we should do it. We will do it because I want that my institute should perform at the national level. We should get recognition. त्याला परत येणार आहे झालं COEला. त्याचा 5-7 वर्षाला काही डेटा करत राहतो सगळं, right? We have to perform. Institute is to be recognized with great laurels and accolades. Okay, but the whole responsibility lies on the shoulders of the teacher. Do you agree? You must agree. Dr. Ekbote sir will also agree. Okay, that whole responsibility lies on the shoulder of the teacher. With all these changing roles, it lies on the shoulders of the teacher. आपण खरं म्हणजे भविष्य घडवणारे सगळे लोक आहोत. आता 2 टॉपिक जे मला मॅडमने दिले होते त्यातला एक काय होता, वेन इंजिनिअरिंग एज्युकेशन इज टू बी डिलिव्हर्ड इन मराठी लँग्वेज, लोकल लँग्वेज. इंडिया हॅज अ ग्रेट हिस्ट्री ट्रेडिशन इन द फॉर्म ऑफ ऑल. आपलं खूपच वेदामध्ये नॉलेज आहे, उपनिषदांमध्ये आहे, महाभारतात आहे, सगळीकडे आहे. ओके, अँड देन वी आर ग्रेट 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 resource, treasure rather, of our arts, of our culture, of our architecture, even technology, really, even medicines, we are a great treasure. And India was really the सोन्याचा देश होता असं म्हणायचं आपण केव्हा तरी, right? And all that knowledge, there is knowledge seeking from across the globe. आपल्याकडे होतं सगळं नालंदा तक्षशिला वगैरे. So why not to re-explore that great treasure? Why not to rehunt it? NEP categorically emphasizes on re-exploring that Indian knowledge system, and we should be feeling proud of it, really, that we have everything ते करायला पाहिजे. Meanwhile काय झालं 200-400-500 वर्षामध्ये there is all English domination at language or culture. संस्कृतमध्ये खूप काय काय लोक म्हणतात, खूप नॉलेज आहे संस्कृतमध्ये, राईट? बट अवर ड्युटी ॲज अ टीचर probably will be, सरांनी सांगितलं, you have to translate that knowledge, bring that knowledge from English, engineering knowledge म्हणतो तुम्हाला, right? In the form of proper learning material, proper books. Okay, we have to translate it, that knowledge from that medium to मराठी medium. असं करायला पाहिजे ना, आपण करायला पाहिजे. तर ट्रान्सलेशन परंपरा आपल्याकडे खूप आहे. संस्कृत मधली गीता ज्ञानेश्वरांनी प्राकृतात आणली. आपल्याकडे काही नवीन नाही आहे, ते करू शकतो आपण केव्हा. ओके, प्रोफेसर कर्माकर अगेन मेन्शन उडान इज अ सॉफ्टवेअर विच इज अ ट्रान्सलेशन सॉफ्टवेअर, सिंटॅक्टिकली करेक्ट, सिमॅन्टिकली ऑल्सो करेक्ट. त्यांनी सांगितलं अर्थ पण व्यवस्थित आणि ग्रॅमॅटिकल पण व्यवस्थित, असं IIT बॉम्बेच्या PhDच्या मुलांनी केलेलं सॉफ्टवेअर आहे. गव्हर्नमेंट ऑफ महाराष्ट्राला दिलं होतं. AICTचं पण तसंच आहे. आणि गुड ट्रान्सलेटेड बुक्स इन मराठी आर कमिंग अप. AICTने घेतले, व्रतच घेतलं त्यांनी पण. सो इट्स कमिंग अप. मला पर्सनली असं वाटतं काय, COEPच्या बोर्डावर सर होते, त्यांना त्याचं एक्स ऑफिशियल पैशाचं म्हणून, आणि असं काही नाही, ते खूप मला छान छोट्या छोट्या रिअलायझेबल टिप्स द्यायचे. त्यांच्या समृद्ध अनुभवाचा फायदा घेऊन तुम्हाला टिप्स द्यायच्या, सगळ्या रिअलायझेबल. कुठलीच गोष्ट तत्वज्ञान नाही, पटकन असं ही गोष्ट करण्यासाठी असं सांगायची. तर तिथे काय कळलं की मला असं वाटतं की आपण म्हटलं की पॉस्च्युलेट अँड थेरम. आता मला समजा मी 8वी-9वी जवळ माझा डबल होतं, म्हणजे इतिहास, भूगोल, नागरिकशास्त्र मराठीमध्ये, पण फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, मॅथ्स मात्र इंग्लिशमध्ये. तेव्हा तशी पद्धत होती आमच्या वेळेला 10वी-12वीला. देन दॅट टाइम समजा मी थेरम आणि पॉस्च्युलेटचे प्रमेय आणि गृहीतक म्हटलं, काय वाटेल? कसं तरीच वाटेल. कशाला ना, इंग्लिश थेरमला गृहीतक म्हणायचं, पॉस्च्युलेटला प्रमेय म्हणायचं, कशाला म्हणायचं? रूलच्या आधी नियम कशाला म्हणायचं? काही गरज नाहीये. ओके, सो पिंपरी चिंचवड कॉलेज ऑफ इंजिनिअरिंग, आपण सरांना माहिती असेल, त्यांनी एक सुंदर प्रयोग केला. आमच्या बोर्डात मी ठेवलं BOG मध्ये, आमच्या बोर्डात डावून नाही, असं काही करायचं नाही. इंग्लिशमध्येच शिकवायचं. काही जणांची इच्छा होती, काही नव्हती, तर ते रिझोल्युशन काय पास होऊ शकलं नाही. सो पिंपरी चिंचवड कॉलेज ऑफ इंजिनिअरिंग, देअर कॉमन बोर्ड मेंबर्स देअर, आणि दे टूक अप दॅट इनिशिएटिव्ह. ओके, आणि कम्प्युटर इंजिनिअरिंग ब्रांच सुरू केली. त्यामुळे काय प्रॉब्लेम आला नाही, ऍडमिशनला तर काही प्रॉब्लेम आला नाही. कॉम्प्युटर इंजिनिअरिंग त्या सगळ्या मुलांच्या उड्या पडतातच. बट दे हॅव रिअली गॉन फॉर, सर म्हटलं इंजिनिअरिंग डॉक्टर कशाला, इंजिनिअरिंगमध्ये पण सर फक्त कॉम्प्युटर इंजिनिअरिंग, अशीच मुलं असेल. ENTC कोणी 2 वर्ष विचारत नव्हतं. मेकॅनिकलची सध्याची परिस्थिती आहे. ओके, त्यामुळे मग त्यांनी कसं केलं की बायलिंग्वल टीचिंग. बायलिंग्वल टीचिंग इज प्रॉब्ली टर्म्स, टर्मिनॉलॉजीज इंग्लिश. कम्युनिकेशन, ओरेशन शुड बी इन मराठी. गुड नो? गुड. म्हणजे वर्गात गेलं की मी तुमच्याशी कसं बोलतोय, तर बायलिंग्वल बोलतोय. मला इंग्लिश येतल्यामुळे मराठी बोलतो का? नाही, असं नाही ना. मराठीचा उगीचा वृथा अभिमान आहे का? नाही, असं वगैरे काही नाही. सो वी कॅन स्पीक बोथ गुड. टीचर शुड बी बेस्ट कम्युनिकेटर्स, बेस्ट ओरेटर्स. टिक इट फ्रॉम मी. ओके, दे मस्ट बी. ज्यांना कोणाला कम्युनिकेशन स्किल येत नाही त्यांना ते शिकलं पाहिजे. सो वी हॅव टू बी बेस्ट कम्युनिकेटर्स अँड बेस्ट ओरेटर्स ऑल्सो. तर त्यांनी काय केलं, छान मार्ग काढला की वर्गात जाताना कम्युनिकेशनची भाषा, संवादाची भाषा मराठी, पण टर्म्स टर्मिनॉलॉजीज मात्र इंग्लिश. नो इश्यूज. हा चॅलेंज घेतला की नाही कोणीतरी, आपल्याच बांधवांनी इकडे घेतलाय, है ना. तर त्यांना त्यांचा अनुभव विचारा. परवा GN कुलकर्णी सर होते प्रिन्सिपल, तर माझे मित्र COEPचेच आहेत ते, म्हणजे आमचे प्रोफेसर कधी होते ते तिकडे गेले आता. सो आय आस्क्ड हिम, सो एक्सपिरियन्स वॉज रिअली गुड, थ्रिलिंग, एक्साइटिंग एक्सपिरियन्स, नो इश्यूज. ओके, acceptability in audience, students good, in parents good, admissions good, business of admissions going good, no issues at all. Management also is happy की काही जागा वेगळ्या काही रिकाम्या राहिल्या नाही. सो इट्स एव्हरीथिंग इज गुड रिअली. मटेरियल इज अवेलेबल, दे सेड यस, इट इज टाइम. आम्ही पण काय काय करतो आहे, नोट्स करून देतो. एक्झामिनेशन पेपर इन 2 लँग्वेजेस. गुड नो. क्वेश्चन नंबर 1A काहीतरी डिस्क्राईब करा, त्याच्या खाली त्याचं विस्तृत विवेचन द्या. वरील मुद्द्याचे विस्तृत विवेचन द्या. सो इफ यू अंडरस्टँड विस्तृत विवेचन, देन ओके. इफ डझंट अंडरस्टँड, देन डिस्क्राईब. यू नोस की डिस्क्राईब कसं करायचं आहे. म्हणून मुलगा खेड्यातला का असेल. सो खूप सुंदर, त्यांनी चांगलंच केलं ते सगळं. त्यांचा आदर्श घेऊन बरेच जण सुरू करू शकतात. सो दे डिड दॅट. आणि मग मुलांचं परफॉर्मन्स सेकंड इयरला आले ते मुलं, त्यांचं परफॉर्मन्स काही फरक नाही पडत आहे. गुड, ऑल गोइंग गुड. ओनली क्वेश्चन इज whether society will accept it or not. When the same student goes for placement in Cognizant, will Cognizant regard a student who has undergone such bilingual kind of education? Will they accept? So एक problem राहिलेला आहे. So we also had in engineering some fora, some discussions with our industry friends, corporate friends rather, mass recruiters, and then they said no, so long as they have sound technological knowledge, त्यांच्या लँग्वेजचा मला काही फरक पडत नाही. ओके, विल कन्वर्ट, आम्ही काय ट्रेन करू इंग्लिशमध्ये, प्रेझेंटेशनमध्ये वी ट्रेन देम. So that issue also is sorted out. Now only question remains is that whether they will be accepted for MS in EU, in US, in Singapore, we don't know. काय होईल तिकडे ते. तर कदाचित तोपर्यंत NEP तिकडेही पोहोचेल आणि त्यामध्ये accepted. No issues. So this bilingual education is a good via media to the promoting policy of NEP, but teachers have to be again adapted. Okay, they have to adapt. They have to be flexible. आपल्याला थोडा थोडा एक इगो पण असतो, की कशाला तो मराठी मिडियमला शिकवणारा माणूस आहे, ते इंग्लिश मिडियमला शिकवणारा माणूस आहे, असं काही करायचं नाही. यू हॅव टू बी ऑलवेज अकोमोडेटिव्ह, इन्क्लुसिव्ह अँड सी टू इट दॅट वी ग्रास्प. टीचर्स आर ओनली वन रोल टू प्ले, assimilate and disseminate. That's all. We receive and we transmit. आमची तीच भाषा टेलिकॉमची. We receive and we transmit. Okay, that role should never end, should never conclude. We are lifelong teachers, lifelong learners. Okay. So we have to be accommodative in this NEP policy promotion, that we must teach them now in Marathi medium also, no issues. And bilingual education is a good via media. आणि कुठल्याही भाषेचा व्यर्थाभिमान न बाळगता, जर्मनी जर्मन शिकवतात, तिकडे जपानी शिकवतात, हे सगळं नाही करता आपण कालांतराने 30-40-50 वर्षांनी probably there will be lot of learning material developed in pure Indian languages. These are not far off. Okay, these are not far off. For last 4-5 centuries, we are following English, Western world. आता पुढे आपल्याला खरंच 100 वर्षाकरता ज्ञानसत्ता व्हायचं असेल तर माझ्या मते मटेरियल सगळं होतंय, पण आपण नाही करणार, आपली पुढची जनरेशन करेल. कधीतरी असं की संपूर्ण मराठीमध्ये आपण इलेक्ट्रॉनिक शिकवू, होईल, काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही आहे. पण सध्या सुरुवात तर झाली पाहिजे. सो NEP सेज देयर शुड बी सम इनिशिएशन अँड वी मस्ट ऍक्सेप्ट इट. आपण केलंच पाहिजे, नो इश्यूज ॲट ऑल. there is a proposition in NEP, the Indian Institute of Translation and Interpretation, IITI. IIT होतच आधी, it's a translation building, not technology, and it is IITI. So there is a lot of rich knowledge in Indian languages, and you have to translate and interpret it, rather translate and reinterpret it, so that everything is revealed to the world that India was a superpower of knowledge and will be superpower of knowledge. No issues at all. Okay? तर तो रोल आपण ऍक्सेप्ट करायला काही हरकत नाही. हरकत नाही कोणाची? We should be bilingual teachers from today. You get motivated from my speech. Okay? And see to it that you become bilingual teachers tomorrow. No issues at all. We can do that. एक छोटासा एक्सपिरियन्स सांगतो. MBA विजिटला आम्ही जातो सर. ऍक्च्युली मॅडमना माहिती आहे. तर ते साऊथ इंडियात जर गेलो, आंध्र प्रदेश, तामिळनाडू आणि केरळ वगैरे सगळीकडे, आणि मी त्यांना गेला म्हणतो की तुमच्या बेस्ट टीचरच्या लेक्चरमध्ये मला बसायचं आहे, असं मी त्यांना सांगतो. मग तो HOD सांगतो की हा आमचा बेस्ट टीचर आहे. विश्वास ठेवा माझ्यावर, 70-80% केसेसमध्ये असं होतं की जो बेस्ट टीचर जो असतो तो खूपदा चुकीचं शिकवतो, ते सोडून द्या. पण तो एक 15-20 मिनिटांनी, म्हणजे अर्धा तास बसतो, एक 15 मिनिटांनी तो लगेच तमिळ लँग्वेजमध्ये येऊन जातो आपोआपच. ओके, तो तसंही बायलिंग्वल शिकत असतो. मग खरोखर येतात ते, आणि वरती गेलं तर दिव्य असतं सगळं. म्हणजे वर जर गेलं नॉर्थ इंडियामध्ये, त्यांचं इंग्लिश फारच पुअर असतं. तर ते काय करतात, लगेच हिंदीमध्ये येऊन जातात. मग हे आपला डायोड आहे, हे आपला ट्रान्झिस्टर आहे, हे आपला PC आहे, हे आपला सिग्नल आहे, असं शिकवतात ते लगेच. आणि मग बरोबर ते, आणि ते ऑलरेडी बायलिंग्वल शिकवतातच त्यांना, हिंदीमधनं इंग्लिशमधनं सगळं इंजिनिअरिंग शिकवतात. तर इज नो इश्यू. ओके, मग आपण आता मराठी टीचर्स ठरवू की आपण बायलिंग्वल शिकवू. नो इश्यू. इव्हन जर इंग्लिश इज गुड, आपण बायलिंग्वल शिकवायला हरकत नाही. नो इश्यू. फक्त शेवटची 2 मिनिटं घेतो, आपल्याला एकबोटे सरांचं ऐकायचं आहे. आणि मला सांगितलं की 90 मिनिटाचे 30 मिनिटं केलेले आहेत माझे. ओके, सो समथिंग अबाउट मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी एज्युकेशन which we already have been doing. COEP took initiative in introducing minor program again before time. आणि 2015च्या करिक्युलम डिझाईनमध्ये I was in academic that time, आणि 20 क्रेडिटचा मायनर सुरू केला. AICT model curriculum has lot of reflections of COEP curriculum. Why? Because Professor Sasrabudde went as AICT chairman and he involved lot of us in that curriculum design. So AICT, आमचा 2015चा करिक्युलम रिव्हिजन जो होती, it has got lot of shadows and reflections in AICT model curriculum introduced in 2018. Okay, so we are minor was 20 credits, additional 5 courses and so on. So already तिकडे होता. We started minor in finance. Minor in finance, because the third avenue career track is open for my students: entrepreneurship, startups, incubating companies and so on. But engineer, he wants to turn to be an entrepreneur, then knowledge of finance is must. Only technology doesn't help. असं कोणत्या अनुभवाचे बोल सांगितले आम्हाला. What we did is, we had an MOU with Symbiosis. आमच्याकडे फायनान्स देण्याचं कोणी नव्हतं तेव्हा, एकही प्रोफेसर टीचर कोणी नव्हता. We had MOU with Symbiosis Management School, and we borrowed teachers from them, and that course was so well received की त्याला 147 रजिस्ट्रेशन झाले फायनल इयर टेकच्या मुलांचे. 147 रजिस्ट्रेशन, अजून मागच्या पासाला खूप फुल चाललाय सगळा. ओके, सो इट वॉज मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी एज्युकेशन विदाउट लुझिंग sanctity of a particular domain. I mixed it, I accommodated it, I accepted it for engineering education. Did I touch the sanctity of finance domain? No. I accepted it, welcomed it in engineering domain. So there is no overlap. आपण जर सेट भाषेत सांगायचं झालं, नो इंटरसेक्शन. माझं इंजिनिअरिंगचा एक सर्कल आहे आणि एक फायनान्सचा सर्कल आहे, पण बोथ कोलॅबोरेटेड विदाउट ओव्हरलॅप. इंटरसेक्शन सेट 0. दॅट वॉज अ थिंग, राईट? We also made that experiment of, but असं त्या मेडिटेशन, तुम्हाला काही शिकायला, म्युझिक शिकायचं असेल तर म्युझिक कला केंद्रामध्ये आपण घेऊ शकतो. NEP says you encourage multidisciplinary education. कोणतरी सांगितलं की व्हायलिन आईन्स्टाईन खूप सुंदर वाजवायचा, आणि E=mc तेव्हा त्याला सुचलं, अशी आख्यायिका म्हणायचं, मला माहित नाही, पण दॅट इज समथिंग लाईक ही वॉज अ गुड व्हायलिन प्लेअर. सरांनी गिटारचं सांगितलं असता. सो इट वॉज लाईक तुम्ही जर आर्ट येत असेल, ड्रॉइंग येत असेल, पेंटिंग येत असेल, काही काय असेल तुम्हाला, सो इट एनरिचेस युअर लाईफ. And your other creativity in engineering, it enhances, no doubt. मग तसं आम्ही मायनर तिकडे बरेच फायनान्स आहे आमच्याकडे. आता त्याचा एक फायनान्स उदाहरण दिलं. इट वॉज ऑन मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी एज्युकेशन. वी ऑल्सो हॅड अन इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी एज्युकेशन इव्हॉल्व. बाय डेफिनेशन वी वेंट रिअली, आम्ही 2017 साली बाय डेफिनेशन वी वेंट. डिक्शनरी डेफिनेशन, मेरियम वेबस्टर डिक्शनरी डेफिनेशन. व्हॉट इज इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी एज्युकेशन? So you have to think from the bottom with a goal. So we said that we want to start a program and take in mechatronics. Mechatronics is a blend of mechanical engineering and electronics. All of you agree? Yes. Okay. So we have to start from the bottom, the foundation. There should be analysis approach. We analyze that from this electronics engineering, which courses are to be filtered out. From mechanical, which courses are to be filtered out. How they should be properly blended. There was the analysis behind. Synthesis follows analysis. It's the bottom of the approach, naturally. And there is a harmony. So interdisciplinary says there should be analysis, synthesis following it, and there should be harmonization at the end of it. Then that interdisciplinarity concludes at a program. Mechatronics is best example of interdisciplinary program. We overlapped everything. We overlapped. There was an intersection. Multidisciplinary means no intersection. And keeping sanctity, sacredness of every branch intact. Okay. But interdisciplinary means I'm going to blend everything with a mix, proper mix. To what percentage, what proportion, that we decided. And completely bottom-up analysis synthesis approach with a harmonization among the branches. Now NEP says transdisciplinarity. Right? It is all orthogonality of domains which you have to work together. Can I have healthcare engineering as a BTech program? Healthcare engineering. I certainly need somebody from Dr. Ekbute's profession. Why not? Healthcare engineering. COEP 2010 साली क्लिनिकल इंजिनिअरिंगचा प्रोग्राम करायचा विचार केला होता. AICTE रिजेक्ट केला. SPTने नाही केला, AICTने केला. ते टायटलच नाही आमच्या लिस्टमध्ये. So they simply rejected that. Clinical engineering was a program, it's a co-program, joint program with BJ Medical College. Okay. Today healthcare is a very, very flourishing domain, very fancy. आता कोणाला healthcare खूप मोठं domain आहे. So can I agriculture engineering? Why not? So transdisciplinarity is certainly bringing knowledge from others, again probably blending together. But to what proportion? That you have to think of. So COEP is seriously evolving. We सरांना पण सांगितलं कर्मकर सरांना NEP compliant curriculum we are evolving with the help of AICTE to be operated from let's say July 2023. We understood MAE. You understood no? 7 years वगैरे सगळं ते तुम्हाला कळलं. 10%च काहीतरी ट्रान्झिशन करणार सगळं कळलं. But then these challenges in front of teachers are now how do we really implement? If you are curriculum designers, how do we really include multidisciplinarity, interdisciplinarity, and transdisciplinarity in our total delivery, total examination system, and so on. Similarly, how do we welcome for bilingual education in engineering? These are the roles. But teachers, as I said, are the most accommodative human beings, but who groom the future of the student and therefore build the nation. Okay? We were accommodative, we will remain inclusive for years to come. Your role as a knowledge giver will never change. So let's believe in ourselves, and that role, let's keep it intact. It is eternal, perpetual role. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Sir, recently we had an opportunity to listen to your talk in Mother Tongue Marathi during Listener, that is Anand Shaya on NEP, Implementation Pathway Services. And we got an idea how positively one should be looking at the opportunity of delivering the technical education in Mother Tongue. Today, you have enlightened us with your deep thought over this topic. This will definitely help all academicians present over here to get ready for relevant upcoming opportunities during implementation of NEP 2020. Thank you once again, sir. सर सुरुवातीलाच म्हणाले की त्यांच्या सेशनमध्ये एकही जांभळी नसायची आणि सर मी आणि आम्ही माझ्या बरोबरचे अनेक कलिग पर्सनली तर श्वास रोखून आपले सेशन ऐकलेले आहेत. उद्देश हाच की एकही शब्द मिस होऊ नये. आज सभागृहातही सगळ्यांना याची प्रचिती नक्की झाली असेल. सो थँक्यू वन्स अगेन सर. Now, today we have with us Dr. Mrs. Josna Ekbote, Madam, Joint Secretary, Progressive Education Society. Madam is also ex-corporator of PMC and chairperson of College Development Committee of Modern College of Engineering. Madam's contribution in academics and social sector is incredible. आणि इथे सांगायला आवडेल की मॅडम झुलॉजीच्या प्रोफेसर असूनही त्यांनी त्यांची जी PhD केलेली आहे ती ललित लेखन जे अनेक वेल नोन ऑथर्स आहेत त्याच्यावर त्यांनी PhD केली आहे. So here we have the example of multidisciplinary education with us. So now I request our principal, Dr. Mrs. Kalyani Joshi Madam, to welcome and felicitate Dr. Mrs. Josna Ekbote Madam. Thank you, madam. With this, now we all are eager to listen presidential address of our dynamic and visionary leader, a true academician and medical surgeon by profession, respected Dr. Gajanan Ekbote sir. Sir has keenly studied the NEP 2020 guidelines and has been continuously encouraging each one of us to do the same. In fact, Sir is ensuring that each and every member of the unit under Progressive Education Society under Progressive Education Society is well sensitized about NEP 2020 framework and get ready towards effective implementation of it. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Sir. Actually, it was challenged to introduce Sir, but you can now witness through his talk how incredible he is and why I'm continuously saying dynamic and visionary leader. Thank you all. Thank you, Sir.
माझ्या गुरुनंतर मला उभं करणारी हीच व्यक्ती आहे आणि ते तुझ्या 2 मिनिटं होऊ गेलं. The dignitaries on the dais, Professor Dr. Kharmarkar sir, Dr. Sutavane sir, my colleagues in the Business Council of Peace Society, ladies and gentlemen. NEP 2020 विषयी आपण बोलताना महत्वाचं मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी अप्रोच, आमचं घरच मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी आहे. त्याचं कारण असं की मी स्वतः सर्जन आहे आणि मिसेस MSc आणि नंतर PhD ललितमध्ये, मुलगी इंजिनिअरिंग MBA आणि 2 मुलं मेडिकल, म्हणजे फार सगळंच इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी, मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी, ट्रान्सडिसिप्लिनरी हे सगळं आमच्या घरात आहे. सो आय एम नॉट गोइंग टू नॅरेट अबाउट talk about the NPE because both the speakers have told you about what are the contents and all this. But I want to just elaborate what is the interesting parts of this national education policy 2020 up till now. Because I will witness and I delivered many lectures across the state of Maharashtra. The various commissions were appointed by the government of India. Right from 1956, our Dr. Radhakrishnan, who was eminent academician, he presented first his thesis on the higher education system in India. We borrowed the higher education system in India from British people. So what was the British model those times? During the 1948, centrally there was university and surrounded by the affiliating colleges. And there were in 1947-48 just 17 or 18 universities in our country and nearly 700 colleges in our country. Very few teachers and hardly 7 lakh students taking part in the process of higher education. Now today what is the picture? Today there are more than 1,000 universities more than 45,000 colleges, more than 4 crore students taking part in the process of education, and more than 50 lakh teachers who are teaching this, taking part in the process of education, higher education. So after Dr. Radhakrishnan, central government again appointed Kuthai Commission in 1966. Then there was a higher education commission in 1986. National Knowledge Commission appointed by Prime Minister Manmohan Singh in 2007, and then this is the National National Policy Education in 2020. Actually, this committee was formed in 2016 by my friend Mr. Prakash Javadekar, who was the HRD minister in the central government, and under the chairmanship of Dr. Kasturi Rangan. And 4 years after the intense deliberations, this MP 2020 was formulated, and it came out to the big thesis. However, all these commissions are studied in details, but this commission report just remained in the libraries. These reports were never implemented. I know this National Knowledge Commission, this Prime Minister Manmohan Singh appointed, and the 2007, very interesting story. This National Knowledge Commission report was out in 2007. There were many lectures in the state of Maharashtra, in the university also. And we felt that this will be implemented. There was the very good contents in the National Knowledge Commission, small universities, autonomy, all these things which are mentioned in the National Education Policy 2020. But then Mr. Yashpal was UGC chairman. He wanted also his report. So after National Knowledge Commission, this UGC appointed Yashpal one-man commission to deliver his report. So all these reports just were in the libraries only for reference books, and they were never implemented. The government, state governments or the central government, there is little will to implement these reports of the different commissions. Now, it was mentioned in the National Knowledge Commission that the gross enrollment ratio of the percent of the students taking part in the system of higher education in the country is directly proportional to GDP. If the gross enrollment ratio is increased, the GDP of that nation will increase. So in developed countries like Canada, Australia, gross enrollment ratio is up to 50, 55. We want to achieve the 50 up to 2035. Today we are just 27, 28, like that. So it was mentioned in this National Knowledge Commission that we must strive hard to have that gross enrollment ratio within 15 to 2050. But then it was just a library book, National Knowledge Commission, you can have the references in the various libraries. So mainly the British old system, it continued in our country. All the various commissions told us that we had to discard the British system, but we never implemented those recommendations. And funnily, ब्रिटिशांनी काय केलं की त्यांच्याकडची सिस्टीम खूप बदलून टाकली. नाउ द युनिव्हर्सिटीज इन द ब्रिटन दे आर जस्ट कॅम्पस युनिव्हर्सिटीज. फक्त कॅम्पस पुरत्या युनिव्हर्सिटीज आहेत, ॲफिलिएटिंग कॉलेजेस नाहीत. परंतु आपण मात्र ही सिस्टीम छातीला कवटाळून बसलेलो आहे की जसं काही आपलं हे आपणच तयार केलेली सिस्टीम आहे. आणि वेन आय वॉज दी मेंबर ऑफ वन ऑफ द इम्पॉर्टंट कमिटीज ऑफ दिस प्लॅनिंग कमिशन, I was asked what is the SWOT analysis of Indian higher education system. So this is the main thing, that the number of affiliating colleges, they are much more in the universities or the universities, state universities. For example, Pune University, Dr. Karmalkar, who was the Vice Chancellor, there are, I think, 700 colleges affiliated to Pune University. Same is about the Bombay University and Nagpur University. So they are called the obese universities. Actually, I used to describe that there is one disease in the medical field, what is called as hypothyroidism. There is this thyroid gland everybody possesses. And your alertness, enthusiasm depends on the secretions of the thyroid gland, that is called a thyroxine. The person is alert, enthusiastic, sensitive, that means his thyroxine levels are normal. But he is insensitive, lethargic, obese, that is called the hypothyroidism. So many universities in India, they are hypothyroid now. Because they are very obese, they got the lot of burden of the affiliating colleges, and the syllabi of different courses are not changed regularly. सरांना माहिती आहे आपल्या कर्मकर सरांना की पहिला आयटम जो आमचा अकॅडमिक काउन्सिलर असतो तो इतिवृत्त मंजूर करा आणि इतिवृत्तामध्ये कर्मकर सर करतात की पहिली वेलंटी पाहिजे का दुसरी वेलंटी पाहिजे असं त्याच्यातच अर्धा तास जातो म्हणजे अकॅडमिक काउन्सिल विद्या परिषद असं म्हणतात परंतु त्याच्यामध्ये अर्धा पाऊण तास आमचा खर्च करतो होतो कारण आय वॉज द मेंबर ऑफ द अकॅडमिक काउन्सिल ऑफ पुणे युनिव्हर्सिटी फॉर 25 years. So this is the system of the Indian higher education system, the weaknesses. माझे मित्र डॉक्टर नरेंद्र जाधव काय म्हणायचे, मी त्यांना खूप वेळ माझ्या चर्चा झाली तर ते म्हणत हा विकनेस नाही, स्ट्रेंथ आहे. म्हणजे असं स्ट्रेंथ काय आहे तुम्हाला वाटतं? कारण तुमचं साम्राज्य आहे ना, 3 कॉलेजेस, 3 जिल्ह्यातली 800 कॉलेजेस आणि 8 लाख विद्यार्थी, त्याच्यावर तुम्ही कमांड करता व्हाईस चान्सलर म्हणून, आणि म्हणून तुम्हाला ही सिस्टीम आवडते. तेवढे माझ्या मनातलं बोलला तुम्ही. तर दिस इज द ड्रॉबॅक ऑफ द इंडियन हायर एज्युकेशन सिस्टीम. आणि नॅशनल एज्युकेशन पॉलिसी जी आहे त्याच्यामध्ये ही ऑल दिस फॅक्टर्स दे हॅव स्टडीड व्हेरी नाईसली. आणि नाव वी वॉन्ट टू गो टू दी and implement the National Education Policy 2020 from academic year 23-24. What are the 7 features that we want to implement? ते सगळं खूप तत्वज्ञान झालं, आपण खूप ऐकलं असेल, वाचलं असेल, अनेक वेळा सेशन झाले असतील, पण नेमकं आपल्याला काय करायचं आहे इंजिनिअरिंग कॉलेजमध्ये? तर नंबर 1 is autonomy. The National Education Policy tells that every college by 2035 it will be autonomous and will have degree granting power. म्हणजे आपलं जे आहे 2035 पर्यंत त्याच्या आधीच आपल्याला ऑटोनॉमी मिळणार आहे. 3.66 स्कोर आहे, नॅकला एक डबल प्लस आहे. तर वी आर गोइंग टू गेट ऑटोमॅटिकली ऑटोनॉमी विदाउट दी विजिटिंग कमिटी फ्रॉम युनिव्हर्सिटी ग्रँट्स कमिशन. इफ वी अप्लाय within 1 month or 2 months we'll get the autonomy. आणि ऑटोनॉमी मिळाल्यानंतर आफ्टर few years you will be given status of degree granting power. म्हणजे ज्या डिग्री विद्यार्थ्यांना आपण देणार आहोत त्याच्यावर तुमच्या प्राचार्यांची सही असेल. सो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन युअर ब्रँडिंग ऑफ मॉडर्न कॉलेज ऑफ इंजिनिअरिंग की त्या सर्टिफिकेटला किती व्हॅल्यू आहे. सो ऑटोनॉमस multidisciplinary approach that Dr. Sutawani and Dr. Karmakar already told. I got 2 examples of the engineering faculty having this multidisciplinary approach. I visited IIT Kanpur. They have got their own medical college. They have set up their own medical college in IIT campus. And secondly, IIT Bombay, they have got School of Social Sciences, sociology, psychology, etc. So they have got the School of Social Sciences. So this is how the multidisciplinary approach is already there in some of the topmost IITs in our country. But then in our college also, we want to start that from the next academic year. we had presently we have got the multidisciplinary approach. पण आपल्याकडे MBA जो प्रोग्राम आहे तो मॅनेजमेंटचाच प्रोग्राम आहे, MCA आहे आणि इंजिनिअरिंग आहे. पण स्टील बिकॉज ऑफ अकॅडमिक बँक ऑफ क्रेडिट्स त्याच्यामुळे आपल्याला हे जसं काही आपल्याला सरांनी सांगितलं, करमळकर आणि सुतावणे सरांनी, की गायनाची एखाद्याला आवड असेल, गिटार वाजवण्याची आवड असेल, कम्युनिकेशन शिकायचं असेल, लँग्वेजेस शिकायचे असतील, तर असं खूप आपल्याला त्या ठिकाणी करता येईल. अनदर गुड एक्झाम्पल ऑफ मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी अप्रोच इज मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी कोर्स और इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी बायोटेक्नॉलॉजी. जो जेव्हा सुरू झाला बायोटेक्नॉलॉजी, तर इट वॉज दी मर्जर ऑफ दी biology, life sciences and engineering, biotechnology. So that is also we can start because many IITs they have started the biotechnology course. Then lot of funding will be given to research in the higher education institutes. National Research Foundation, Finance Minister announced in the Parliament that 20,000 crore rupees are allotted for National Research Foundation and you get lots of funds for research. आतापर्यंत काय होतं की युनिव्हर्सिटी कॅम्पसमध्ये रिसर्च व्हायचा. ऑल्दो वी गॉट दी रिसर्च सेंटर इन अवर कॉलेज, स्टील दी ॲज कम्पेअर्ड टू द युनिव्हर्सिटी कॅम्पस, दी रिसर्च डन इन द कॉलेज इज नॉट नोटवर्दी. तुलना करता येत नाही. परंतु देन ए गुड हायर एज्युकेशन इन्स्टिट्यूट विल रिसीव गुड फंड्स फ्रॉम दी नॅशनल रिसर्च फाउंडेशन. There will not be affiliating university by 2035. प्रत्येक कॉलेज आता ॲटोनॉमस होईल, म्हणजे आपण जर होणार 10 वर्ष आधी. पण देन henceforth of 45,000 colleges, the numbers will be reduced to 15,000 colleges and there will not be affiliating university. म्हणजे आता जसं पुणे विद्यापीठ आहे, we are affiliated to Pune University, that structure will not be there. The teachers, सरांनी आता सांगितलं की टीचर सर्व, आय एम ऑल्सो टीचर, तर टीचरचा रोल अजून पुढे वाढणार आहे ऑटोनॉमीमध्ये, की तुम्हाला जे तुम्ही सिलेबस फॉलोअर्स आहात ते सिलेबस मेकर्स पुढच्या काळामध्ये तुम्हाला करावं लागणार. हा फार महत्त्वाचा बदल आहे आणि त्याच्यामुळे तुम्हाला तुमचं नॉलेज वारंवार अपडेट करावं लागणार. सो ॲटोनॉमीचा तो एक मोठा फायदा आहे आणि मला असं वाटतं की पुढच्या काळामध्ये आपल्याला ॲटोनॉमीवर सखोल एकदा चर्चा, कार्यशाळा आपल्या कॉलेजच्या शिक्षणासाठी घ्यावी लागेल. And the last is the lot of international linkages, collaborations, they will take place. International ज्या चांगल्या प्रेस्टिजियस इन्स्टिट्यूट्स असतील त्यांच्याबरोबर कोलॅबोरेशन हे आपल्याला करता येईल बिकॉज ऑफ दी विच इज मेन्शन प्रोव्हिजन्स इन द नॅशनल एज्युकेशन पॉलिसी. सो दिस वे वी हॅव टू गो फॉरवर्ड अँड इम्प्लिमेंट द नॅशनल एज्युकेशन पॉलिसी इन अवर कॉलेज. It starts with the autonomy. So 2023 we are autonomous. तुम्ही अर्ज करायला थोडे आळशी लोक आहात, तुम्ही तुमचे लोक मे बी कोणाकडे बोट दाखवत माहिती आहे. तर जो त्यानंतर ऑटोनॉमी नंतर मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी अप्रोच, त्यानंतर रिसर्च, अकॅडमिक बँक ऑफ क्रेडिट, त्या मार्गाने आपल्याला पुढे जायचं आहे. आता सर तुम्ही म्हणाल की कशा ऑटोनॉमी वगैरे आम्हाला अभ्यास करावा लागेल. म्हणजे उदाहरण मी तुम्हाला देतो. म्हणजे मिसेस ज्या BC ग्रॅज्युएटेड फ्रॉम BSc, ग्रॅज्युएटेड फ्रॉम मालेगाव डिस्ट्रिक्ट नाशिक. कॉलेज त्यावेळेस फार खूप चांगलं होतं, पण त्यानंतर त्यांचं मी एक्झिक्युटिव्ह काउन्सिलला निवडून गेलो अँड देन मी पाहिलं तिथं शिक्षकांचं काय चालू आहे. तर तुम्हाला आश्चर्य वाटेल सर, तर शिक्षक काय करायचे, बाजरी आणि ज्वारी कुठं सायकलवर घेऊन यायचे विकायला कॉलेजमध्ये. आणि दुसरी गोष्ट म्हणजे कांदे बटाटे ते सुद्धा घेऊन यायचे तिथे शेतातले. आणि तिसरी गोष्ट की पैठणी घेऊन यायचे. एवढा जवळ होतं मालेगावला तर पैठणी. तर एकदा मी कोळास्कर सरांना सगळं सांगितलं. कोळास्कर सर व्हाईस चान्सलर आहे. सर हाजे असे उद्योग चालतात. तर मग कोळास्कर सर म्हणले मी एकदा जाऊन त्यांच्याशी भाषण करतो. म्हणजे काय उपयोग होणार नाही. ते फार पुढे गेलेले शिक्षक आहेत, फार हुशार आहेत ते. तर त्यांनी भाषण केलं तिथे की शिक्षकाने असं राहिलं पाहिजे, असं शिकलं पाहिजे, असं नॉलेज अपडेट केलं पाहिजे. So Dr. Kolasकर speak from his heart. This is how the teacher should behave. तर एक शिक्षक बोट हे करून म्हणला, सर तुम्ही म्हणताय ते बरोबर आहे, पण एवढं तुम्ही आम्हाला सांगता आमच्या संस्थाचालकांना काहीतरी सांगा की काय म्हणले. ते म्हणले काही नाही, आम्हाला पुढे पगारच होत नाही म्हणून. तर तो प्रशांत हिरे आमचे मित्र, ही वॉज दी चेअरमन ऑफ द ट्रस्ट, ते म्हणले सर हे असंच चालतं म्हणले. न चांगलं सांगायला गेलं हे कुठेतरी सुसंवाद संस्थाचालक आणि टीचर्स त्याच्यामध्ये नाही. आणि त्यामुळे हे हायर एज्युकेशन ही सिस्टीम आपल्या देशामध्ये, तर सर म्हणले म्हणजे मी संपूर्ण भारत हिंडलो आहे मेडिकल कॉलेजेस पाहण्याकरता. साऊथ इंडिया आय ट्रॅव्हल्ड, नॉर्थ इंडिया ऑल्सो ट्रॅव्हल्ड. तर नॉर्थ इंडियाचं पिक्चर काही राज्यांमध्ये चांगलं आहे, सगळीकडेच तुम्हाला म्हणता येणार नाही. आता नावं घेतली तर उगाच काहीतरी ते नितीश कुमारांपर्यंत जायचं, तिथं या मॉडर्न कॉलेज ऑफ इंजिनिअरिंगमध्ये आपलं स्टेटचं नाव घेतलं. पण ही 2-4 राज्य वगळता काही काही ठिकाणी खरोखर चांगलं त्या ठिकाणी. दिल्लीला मी माझं आय बिन पोस्ट ग्रॅज्युएटेड इन दिल्ली ऑल इंडिया इन्स्टिट्यूट, वन ऑफ द प्रीमियर इन्स्टिट्यूट इन अवर कंट्री. इट इज इन नॉर्थ इंडिया. So there are premier institutes in North India also. But as Sir said, Dr. Sutavane, that out of 100, there may be say 20 institutes which are name worthy. But South India मध्ये प्रमाण वाढतं. It depends on the teachers. So autonomy is a challenge to the teachers. Therefore, our path to travel and succeed in national education policy will start from the autonomy and multidisciplinary approaches. So that is very important. And then there will be various brainstorming sessions. This is just a sensitization session for you. अनेक मला करमळकर सर मला म्हणले की सर मागच्या आठवड्यातच मी आय गिव्हन लेक्चर ऑन दिस नॅशनल एज्युकेशन पॉलिसी. द ऑडियन्स वॉज डिफरंट बिकॉज ही डिलिव्हर्ड द लेक्चर for of the Arts, Science, Commerce College. Now today you are delivering lecture for the, so what can be done for the engineering college? That both of you have told. It was very nice to hear both of you. Dr. Karmalkar has been the chairman of the steering committee, implementation committee of the state of the Maharashtra, appointed by Honorable Minister. Dr. Sutavane is the Vice Chancellor of the College of Engineering. Sir, तुमचं भाषण पहिल्यांदाच ऐकलं मी. आणि इट वॉज व्हेरी नाईस. म्हणजे तुमचं माझं त्या ठिकाणी जुळतं की म्हणून मराठीत बोललं पाहिजे आपण. हरकत नाही बोलायला, मराठीचं जुनगंड नको. वेन आय एंटर दी मेडिकल कॉलेज एज मेडिकल फॅकल्टी, आय यूज टू टीच ॲटलीस्ट 25-30% इन मराठी. आणि दी स्टुडंट यूज टू लाईक दॅट. सो दॅट इज व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. पण देन म्हणजे तुमच्याशी ॲग्री होत नाही की मराठीमध्ये हे शिकून आपण थोडं डायल्युशन करतो. कारण बिकॉज द मेडिकल टर्मिनॉलॉजी इज देअर, द मेडिकल सिलेबस, मेडिकल कोर्स, अंडर ग्रॅज्युएट कोर्स ते आम्ही कसं शिकवणार कसं, सर्जरी शिकवणार कशी, त्याला निदान नाव इंग्लिशमध्ये ऑलरेडी आहे स्ट्रक्चरला. सो दॅट इज व्हेरी डिफिकल्ट. इट विल टेक प्लेस ॲट लिस्ट 5 to 6 years टू ट्रान्सलेट दोज टर्म्स इन मराठी अँड देन इट इज easy to teach these courses in Marathi. But I heard a very nice lecture from Dr. Sutavane and Dr. Karmalkar. I thank them for because त्यांच्या दोघांच्या व्यस्त कार्यक्रमामध्ये ते इथं आले आणि आपल्यासाठी वेळ दिला. युअर पीपल आर व्हेरी लकी, दे आर व्हेरी स्टॉलवर्ड. बोथ आर व्हाईस चान्सलर्स. करमळकर सर निवृत्त झाले तरी आम्ही व्हाईस चान्सलर म्हणतो तुम्हाला अजून, कारण तसं रेग्युलर व्हाईस चान्सलर कोणी नाही आहे तिथे अजून. आणि तुमचे आशीर्वाद घ्यायला लागतील तोच व्हाईस चान्सलर होईल. आणि मला काय तर माझं वय संपलेलं आहे म्हणून, नाही तर मी म्हटलं तर मला करावं म्हणून. आय एम थँकफुल टू बोथ ऑफ यू बिकॉज देर वॉज अ ग्रेट कॉन्व्हर्सेशन. आणि नाव आय सी द फेसेस. माझी जांभळे वगैरे काही नाही आहेत, वेळ मिटलेले नाही आहेत कोणी. एव्हरीबडी इज हॅपी. सो थँक्यू व्हेरी मच टू द ऑडियन्स अँड द स्पीकर्स. थँक्यू व्हेरी मच.
Thank you, sir, for addressing this gathering with your valuable thoughts and sharing your profound knowledge about NEP 2020 framework. It's always pleasure and great learning experience to listen to respected Dr. Egbote, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Now we are near the end of this inauguration function. I request Dr. Mrs. Itkar Madam to propose vote of thanks and to announce further proceedings of the workshop. Thank you all. Jai Maharashtra, Jai Hind.
Thank you, madam. Respected members, I am here to propose vote of thanks of today's inaugural function. On behalf of PS Modern College of Engineering, Pune, I would like to thank today's chief guest, Dr. Nitin Karmarkar sir, ex-Vice Chancellor, SPPU Pune, for his valuable time and speech. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank Dr. Mr. M.S. Sutale sir, Vice Chancellor, COEP Technological University, Pune, for his motivational speech and keynote address. Thank you, sir. Our mentor and advisor, Honorable Professor Dr. G.R. Egbote sir, Chairman, Progressive Education Society, Pune, is always been source of inspiration for all of us. I am also thankful to him for his valuable presence and presidential speech. Thank you, sir. I am thankful to Professor Dr. Josna Egbote Madam, Joint Secretary, Progressive Education Society and CDC Chairperson, PS Modern College of Engineering, for her valuable guidance for arranging this QIP. Thank you, Madam. I am also thankful to Professor Shamkant Deshmukh Sir, Secretary, Progressive Education Society, for giving valuable inputs for organizing this workshop. Thank you, sir. I am grateful to Professor Dr. Rudra Rameshwar, the resource person of the next session from Thakkar University, for accepting the invitation and remaining present for the inaugural function. I am thankful to Principal Dr. Kalyani Joshi Madam for giving us the opportunity and guiding us for organizing this workshop. Thank you, Madam. Our sincere thanks to all the participants who have registered for this national level workshop from various states of India. Thank you all. Hope you will have a great knowledge sharing in these 2 days. I am also thankful to management of PES, all the heads of various institutes under PES for giving the best wishes to us. I appreciate the efforts of all the organizing committee members, vice principals, head of the departments, teaching, non-teaching and office staff of PS Modern College of Engineering in organization of this QIP workshop. Special thanks to Ms. Priyanka Bhatt Madam for beautiful recitation of Goddess Saraswati and Prasadam. Moving towards the end of inauguration function, I invite Ms. Priyanka Bhatt Madam for Prasadam. Thank you.
माता विश्वात्मके देवी येणे वाक्यज्ञे तोषावे तुषो हिमज द्यावे असाय दानही जे खळांची व्यंकटी सांडो तया सत्कर्मी रती वाढो युता परस्परे जगडो मैत्र जीवांचे दुरिताचे तिमिर जावो विश्व स्वधर्म सूर्ये पावो जो जीवांशील तो ते राहो प्राणी जात वर्षत सकळ मंगळी ईश्वर निष्ठांची मांदियाळी अनवरत भूमंडळी भेट तू चला कल्पतरूंचे आर चेतना चिंतामणीचे गाव बोलते जे अर्णव पियुषाचे चंद्रमेचे अलांछन मार्तंड जे तापहीन ते सर्वाही सदा सज्जन सोय रे होतु इम्बहुना सर्व सुखी पूर्ण होनी तिन्ही लोकी भजिजो आदि पुरुषी अखंडित आणि ग्रंथोपजीवी विशेषी लोकी दृष्टादृष्ट विजये होवावे जी गीत म्हणी श्री विश्वेश्वराव हा होईल दान पसावो येणे वरे ज्ञान देवो सुखिया जा सुखिया जा सुखिया जा
Thank you, Bhatt Madam. With the permission of dais, I declare the end of this inauguration function. All the participants, now we will have the lunch break of half an hour, and then we will resume for the session of Dr. Rudra Rameshwar Rao in our main building. Thank you all.